Today centres on the MCG, where Sydney and Melbourne do battle for the right to play Hawthorn in next Saturday's preliminary final. And this should be a battle royal. Melbourne coach John Northey was sacked by Sydney to make way for current coach Tom Hafey, and that should be motivation for Melbourne to add to all their obvious reasons for wanting to win. Sydney can't play worse than last week's form and must bounce back to silence their critics. But the loss of full forward Warwick Capper doesn't help their chances. All the pre-match preparation is done and both sides are ready for what lies ahead. For one, it's the season's last game in this first semi-final, and we'll take you to the MCG after this. Sydney take on Melbourne in the cutthroat first semi-final when we return to the VFL Sports Centre on Super Sunday Football. Welcome back to the VFL Sports Centre. Barry Breen's ready for this afternoon's game, and it promises to be a beauty. Barry, can Melbourne keep the roll going?
Well, everything points to that, Ken, but I've got a funny feeling that the Swans are going to perform pretty well today. The ground looks a little bit wet, and it's going to suit the Swans' smaller players. They've had a top season except for the last couple of weeks, and with Wright, Murphy back in the side today, I think they're going to make a real contest of it. All right. How dearly is the loss of Warwick Capper going to affect the Swans? Well, that's the unknown quantity. I think Moorewood's more than capable of filling the spot. He's a great player, and he's certainly got the ability to play there. As long as he moves around and covers a lot of space, he could run Danny Hughes off his feet, and certainly today's conditions would suit Moorewood. I think they can cover it okay. Certainly Capper, 100-goal full forward, is going to be missed, but I think they've got the men there just to cover that little small loss. Murphy and Tui back into the side. Tui's going to be a big help to them. He's a strong player. He has a go. He runs in a straight line, and certainly let the opposition forwards know that he's around. He's going to make some of the Swans' smaller players stand a little bit taller. Murphy, good running player, well suited to the MCG, and he's certainly going to increase their mobility around the ground as well. OK, what are the Swans going to do to blanket Robbie Flower? Well, Robbie Flower's a very hard player to blanket, but whoever lines up on Robbie's just got to make sure that he's side by side with him at all stages and just play very close and cut him out of the game and not let him run loose as he has done in the last couple of weeks. Do you think there's any danger of the Swans playing a defensive game today? I don't think so. I mean, it's not Tommy's go really to play a fully defensive role. I think they might have a couple of things in mind for some of their players. Wilson maybe, who can be very dangerous if let run loose, but I think we've got to see the Swans really get back to their free-flowing sort of game. That's the game they play best, and if they can recapture that form, I think they can do it. What about Dennis Carroll? Had an absolute shocker last week. He's got to do better this week, no doubt. Yeah, well, he's entitled to put in a bad one. He's had a pretty good season and had a couple of good years. Dennis has got great character as a footballer, so I don't think there's any worries about Dennis coming back, providing that he's fully fit, and the run last week certainly would have helped him do that. All right, who are you going for? Well, I think I'm going to go for the Swans, but I might be slightly biased. But just as long as we see a good game, I'll be happy. Well, I'm a bit the same way, I'm afraid. I'm massively biased, but don't let that worry. All right, we'll take you to the MCG right now. Our commentators for this afternoon, of course, once again, Peter McKenna and Bob Skill.
Welcome and thank you, Ken. Thank you, Barry. Brett Scott, Mark Browning, interchange players for the Swans, and Melbourne do have a change. Simon Eishold into the side, I do believe, in place of Russell Richards. Eishold and Campbell are the interchange players for Melbourne, as umpire David Howlett, his co-umpire today, Peter Cameron. Play about to commence at the MCG.
And interesting, Bob, to see Dennis Carroll lining up at full forward for the Swans and playing on Danny Hughes of Melbourne.
Yes, a very interesting move. I'll ask you how you think it'll go in a minute. As Ironmonger gets the first tap of the game, comes through, a quick handball, Moorewood, forced forward, it's a push in the back, and in direct contrast to last week, it's the Swans, not the Demons. Last week, Melbourne went straight into attack. Carroll's up, can't take the mark. Carroll lined up at full forward, coming across, could have been a free kick to Murphy. Call play on as it's smothered, comes out. Desperate play by both sides, and the loose ball comes out towards the half-back flank, with Wright coming in to put a hip and shoulder against Coop. Over the boundary line it goes.
Well, already, Bob, even in this first 2 minutes of play, the Swans were going in absolutely ferociously on 3 or 4 occasions, and I think they're really revved up for this game today after all the criticism that they have received.
And I'll tell you what, Tui and Stynes at the other end of the ground and niggling each other right throughout.
I'm not surprised. That's the way Bernard Tui plays the game, and so does Big Jimmy Stynes. That's O'Dwyer bring it towards the half-back line. Brett Bailey marks on half-back flank. He'll have the job on Greg Williams today, Bailey, as the kick comes towards the centre of the ground. Bays is the high flyer, couldn't take it. Sean White was there. Players pouncing on top of the ball, and up by Peter Cameron. will come in and bounce it. It's almost on centre wing. No scorers yet. 1.5 minutes into this first quarter. There's Ironmonger beaten by O'Dwyer. Out it comes to Paul Hawke. It's kicked off the ground by Greg Healy. Craig Holden's there also, and eventually it's forced over the line. Now, the two Healy boys, of course, against each other today. Greg Healy and the Sydney Swans champion, Gerard. There's Craig Holden on screen. He'll be delighted to be back in that Swans side.
Yes, as Ironmonger gets the tap down. Pack starting to form. Gerard Healy, a free kick against Gerard Healy, I do believe. I think he hooked his brother. Melbourne going forward. Flower in the middle. Oh, beautiful mark, Robert Flower. And the fans delighted.
Don't they love him?
And deservedly so, as Robert Flower from 50 metres out goes goalward. He's offline, and it's through for a 1 point. First score of the game comes up to the Demons, and it's a 1 point kick by Robert Flower. And on replay, we see the mark, a lovely mark, Robert Flower.
It was a great mark. It's probably the most loved footballer in VFL football, Robert Flower, and rightly so. What a great champion he has been. There's Rocket Rod Carter bringing it to half-back. O'Dwyer went for the big fist away. Gerard Healy getting the hoots because he's a former Melbourne player. To Dennis Carroll, a great attempt to mark. Danny Hughes gets a very good bounce. Picks it up and heads out wide towards the boundary line. Barry Mitchell's there for the Swans. And the little gutsy rover has got it. Hooks it back. Tony Morwood. Sean White. That'll be a tremendous contest, that one. Danny Hughes gets in a hand pass. Glenn Coleman with his knee heavily strapped, which I don't think is too good a sign. There's Stephen Wright. Taken away brilliantly by Stephen Newport. Newport to half forward. A good mark by big Wayne Henwood.
Yes, and I think he might do well today too.
He's in his right position, Bob.
Yes, Henwood towards half forward. Oh, lovely mark by Brian Wilson. Judged it to perfection. Thought about handballing, couldn't be called play on, has been. Gets it out to Graeme Yeats. Yeats coming up, steadies, drives the ball out wide. Dean being told by Viney just exactly how he stands. The long hand pass. There's three Melbourne players. Lovett accepts the ball, hooks the ball forward. Carter's there, over the back of the pack it comes. Can Melbourne get there? They cannot. Carter picks it up. A very, very short kick. Ian Roberts dives in. Over the boundary line it goes. Out of bounds on the full. And the free kick will go the way of Melbourne. And so we'll find Melbourne, as we see the season's average, and the Swans way up on that one. Ricky Jackson, formerly of Richmond. Jackson's not going to take the kick, though. It's Brett Bailey who will have the shot. Bailey plays on with a short pass to Flower. He slipped. Flower's opponent today, Neil Cordy. The hand pass came towards Bailey, but it was over the line. Free kick against Bailey should come out of that.
I agree with you, Bob. That was pretty undisciplined, and I think the umpire should have given that
Probably
free
wasn't
kick.
dramatic enough for Peter Cameron. Henwood puts it wide. Greg Williams thumps it forward. Over the line it goes.
Well, I feel sorry for the poor old Swans. All you hear is boos every time they go near the ball. This is a predominantly Melbourne crowd, of course.
Well, we are on the members' side of the ground.
That's true. There's John Northey on the phone already. 5 minutes gone, first quarter. I think it's good coaching by Tom Hafey to put Cordy on Flower. I think that's a very good
What
match.
do you think about the move of Carroll at full forward?
Well, I think they had to do something. They lacked a bit of firepower against Hawthorn up forward, besides Kappa, and, well, they have to replace Kappa. I think it's worth a try. Forwards win matches. There's Stynes. Taken away by Gerard Healy, hooking it back towards the wing. The mark is dropped by O'Dwyer. There's Paul Hawke, a lovely hand pass. Steve Wright's got it. Another one of those gutsy little rovers for the Swans. Wright brings it to half forward, but the mark is taken by Lovett. Lovett, off he goes. From half-back, a low kick. There's Bolton trying to get away with the ball. Beautiful hand pass was by Mitchell to Dennis Carroll, and look at that booming kick up towards the forward line. Morwood, he should mark it. Oh, couldn't quite grab it. Hutley pressing in with Sean White. Lovely hand pass finds Mitchell. Mitchell towards the square. Bays is there, and also Stephen Stretch. Good play by Stretch. There's 2-on-1 here, but the Bays, beautifully done, Mark Bays. And eventually he loses it and over the line. But there's a lot of desperation out there, Bob.
Yes, by both sides. It's a great start. It's a typical final game. O'Dwyer against Coleman. Bays whipped in and got the tap, but it was a free kick going the way of Melbourne. And the big Stephen O'Dwyer, the boy from St Bernard's, has played 15 games of league football, his first final match because he was out suspended last week, and it's Newport who takes it. Plays on, hooks the ball forward, fortunately straight into the arms of Warren Dean. So Dean, well down from centre-half forward. A shocking kick. Now that was the fault of Dean.
I agree. I thought he ran too close to the man on the mark.
Umpires are too prone to blame the fact that if he kicks into the man on the mark, it's 15 metres.
Well, the rain is starting to come down here. Only light drizzle, but it's there. There's Flower. You can hear the roars of the crowd every time Robbie Flower goes near it. Ricky Jackson, he picks it up. He kicks wide to Graeme Yeats. Yeats has got it. Hand pass to Wilson. Wilson fires a goal. Is it the first? Yes.
An excellent goal by Brian Wilson. A nice hand pass from Graeme Yeats. And with the rain coming down very heavily at the moment, it's a great start to Melbourne as we see Ricky Jackson take possession on replay. The short kick out wide. Loose checking there by David Bolton as Yates was down the ground. The hand pass to Wilson and it's through for one goal.
Well, one goal won the Demons. Sydney yet to score, and as the rain tumbles down, it's a pretty wild day. There's the kick come from Viney right down towards the forward line. It's punched away by Rod Carter. I think we're going to be, for interstate viewers, we're going to be in for a couple of showers during the afternoon. If we go by the seconds game, it didn't really affect the standard of play, though. They had a couple of showers, but the players still handled the ball pretty well. It's not really heavy rain. There's Holden, a high kick towards half-back. O'Dwyer sets himself, misjudges it, loses it to Healy. The ball was out wide to Stretch. Yeats backing up, Melbourne backing up beautifully. Graeme Yeats kicks towards the forward line. Ironmonger's there. Stynes is there also, and David Williams was tacked very, very high.
Looked like a high tackle to me.
Gee, was it ever deep in that forward pocket to David Williams, and the Melbourne members weren't too happy.
Understandably so, because it did look like a high tackle. Hit out's average for Ironmonger and O'Dwyer for the season. Stynes got the tap. Neil Cordy coming through, lost possession. The ball comes back to Stynes. He's tackled. Ironmonger does the shepherding and Mitchell comes away with the ball. Gets it towards Greg Williams. Williams out with a hand pass. Play looked as though it stopped for the moment, and the kick comes forward where it's taken by Gerard Healy. The hand pass from Gerard Healy. Accepted by Roberts. Roberts puts the ball forward, and it's a lovely mark. That's a fine mark there, taken by Earl Spalding.
Well, I think that Glenn Coleman really has to fire today. He's got to do a lot at centre forward, not just leave it to Carroll. There's Bolton taking a good mark on the wing. Spalding's been in excellent form. That should be 15 metres against, could have been another one. Oh, Williams, bad hand pass. Set up Greg Williams badly. That was poor play by the Swans. So back towards the centre of the ground. Paul Hawker's there. Big Ironmonger picked it up beautifully. Healy's in everything at the moment. Gerard Healy. Oh, gutsy mark. A very courageous mark, that is, David Murphy. And great to see him back in the side, Bob.
Yes, he's playing at half forward, though. I personally prefer him on the wing. But we'll see how it goes.
Probably the most improved player in the VFL competition.
Yes, I would go along with that. And David Murphy from Turvey Park, 25 years of age. The kick from David Murphy is a shocker. He's hooked it completely, and it's through for 1 point, but it is the Swans' first score. It's 1-1 Melbourne, 1 point the Swans.
Well, he took 2 paces before he had that kick. You think the guy of his experience would get back on the mark and really running, because he really didn't balance himself. Then Hughes to half-back. Coleman goes for the punch. Oh, well done to Greg Williams. Paul Hawke, Danny Hughes crashes his way through from full-back. Can't get his boot to ball. Tunnel balls it out. And away they come again, the Demons, through Lovett. Right up towards centre wing, and a good mark has been taken by Ian Roberts.
Roberts gives the hand pass immediately to Gerard Healy. Healy steadies and puts the ball across towards half forward. White was up high, couldn't take it. It's holding the man, the Swans. Call play on as the loose ball comes now towards half forward. For the Swans it was. Wilson put the hand pass in, missed by Ironmonger. Jackson gets his hand pass in, and we find Brett Bailey lost possession completely. Bolton gives the hand pass to Roberts. The Swans go forward. Nobody at home. Over the back it comes. It might run through. Kicked off the ground by Coleman. Full points. scores a level.
Well, that is much better play by the Swans. 1-1 apiece. There's Steve Wright showing. Let's see who actually kicked it. Ian Roberts, the long kick. And Coleman's doing some bustling work. Coleman and Steve Wright. That should have been holding the man anyway. Oh, gee, have a look at that. And who actually...
Right.
Which one kicked?
Stevie Wright kicked it.
I think Steve Wright did kick that one. Number 26 kicked it. Well, you saw that in replay, a great camera shot of that one. It should have been a free kick to Coleman anyway. I don't know whether the umpire would have paid it, as the punch comes out wide from Mitchell, knocked on by Viney. Newport leads in the race. Slippery conditions at the moment, and I think we're in for a ring-a-ding game today. The Swans really look as though they're out to make amends for last week's poor performance. There's big Wayne Henwood. A high floater. Spalding sets himself and takes an excellent mark at centre-half back.
As you said earlier, Pete, that duel will have a big impact on the game as Brian Wilson takes the mark. 15 metres has been paid.
A professional one.
And so Wilson now goes short. No mark taken. Henwood coming through. Clumps the ball forward. Is going to be penalised. That was foolish play by Henwood.
Well, I mentioned this in the game at VFL Park yesterday. There were plenty of them, and that umpire paid it well. And there's Stynes having a quick snap at goal. Steve Wright knocks it back. Ricky Jackson's got it. Hand passes. Gee, they're going in hard. And is that a free kick? I think the umpire, Peter Cameron, he took a bit of a dive, but the umpire is paying the free kick to Robert Flower in the forward pocket.
That'll keep him sweet with the Melbourne members anyway.
Well, here it is. Let's we go. It just missed the end of that, right in front of the Melbourne members stand, and about 35 metres out from goal. The camera right behind the Melbourne champ, Robert Flower, and let's see if he can kick it. He is a great kick for goal normally, Robert Flower. Well, on this occasion, give a bloke a rap. He's hooked it right across, and this is a behind to Melbourne.
2 points to Robbie Flower,
and they move on to 1-2. The Sydney Swans on 1-1, but this is going to be a great game of football.
I have that feeling, Pete. I really do. As Rod Carter goes long. Neil Cordy in front. Good effort to take the mark. It was punched away. And I think that's Tiggy Touchwood like that. What else can a player do when he's trying to punch the ball away? If Cordy's kick goes off the side of the boot and out of bounds on the full. Surely you let those ones go.
Yes, I agree with you on that one, Bob. I think some of the umpires early in a game sometimes try and keep control and to let
we
the
are
players...
14 minutes into the game, and it's a great mark he's taken there in the middle of the pack by Warren Dean. That was a lovely mark.
He's a good player, isn't he?
On replay, we see Ironmonger try to punch the ball away, but couldn't get the height, and Warren Dean took a superb mark. Dean's kick towards goal. Well, as you said last week, Pete, the way he holds that ball and drops it, he seems to hook it on most occasions.
He kicks a lot of points, Warren Dean, because of, as you said, the way he holds it, and he always right to left, almost like an inside-out swing in golf, as we see Rod Carter, a wobbly old kick from fullback. Brian Wilson set himself for the mark. He's got it. He hooks it back. Robert Flower picks up, hooks it to the pocket. Oh, good play, Ian Roberts, to attack the ball. That was beautiful football. To Craig Holden, a little chip pass looking for Greg Williams. Can he get there? Oh, cleverly done. He was grabbed. It'll be a free kick. Tripped, in fact, said the umpire. So Greg Williams, that was very clever play by Williams. He's not a quick player, but a great football break. Gee, they're running too close to the men on the mark time and time again, some of these players.
Yes, you can't understand a player like Greg Williams even doing that. But what was the difference in that to when they kicked it to the mark earlier? None. Ridiculous. I'm afraid inconsistency by umpires I do not like. Ricky Jackson forces the ball forward, gathers it well. The hand pass over the top to Flower. Flower towards goal. He's across the face, and that's the third point to Robert Flower. And as we mentioned earlier, Neil Cordy has the job of Robert Flower. Bernard Toohey dropping back into the back pocket to pick up the big fellow Stynes. Mark Bays has gone to a wing, Murphy to half forward, and Dennis Carroll to full forward for the Swans.
I think they've already moved Glenn Coleman away from centre-half forward to the forward pocket, Bob. There's Greg.
He lined up there, actually, mate.
Oh, did he? Well, there's Bays. Let's see his kicking. Oh, why did he handball that? But it comes back to Morwood. Here's a chance for the Swans. Stephen Wright, 35 metres from goal. The little fella fires a goal. He's kicked it. Great goal, Steve Wright.
Stevie Wright kicking his second goal, and the Swans go to 2 goals, 1-13, leading Melbourne on 1-4-10. On replay, we see the ball hand passed out forward on to Stevie Wright, gathers the ball in well, and a well-placed kick puts it right through the centre.
Back to the centre, and the Swans looking pretty good so far. They're looking as if they've got a lot of cohesion up forward. Graeme Yeats towards the pocket. David Williams slips over, and I think Rod Carter's in for a busy afternoon because David Williams is a very quick player, leads a lot, runs around the forward line, and Rocket Rod, he doesn't get many...
He'll do his job.
Oh, he's fantastic. Doesn't get many goals kicked on him. 17.5 minutes gone in this first quarter. A very, very even contest at the moment. 2-1, plays 1-4, so already it's 5 scoring shots to 3 in favour of Melbourne.
Swans interchange bench, Brett Scott and Mark Browning. Stynes wins the tap, taken by Jackson. A well-placed kick from Jackson. He's hooked it back towards the square. Fowler over the top, kicks it off the ground. Flower, that is! And Robbie Flower brings up his first goal, and now Melbourne are in front, 16-13.
Well, that was beautiful play by the little fella, Ricky Jackson. Watch this, Stynes went for the hit out, but look at the pace. Off he goes and hooks it hard and long. And you'll see this, Flower almost took the mark. It came to ground, knocked on by Williams, and then Flower just got his boot to the ball, and a very, very handy goal, which put them in front, the Melbourne side, by 3 points.
Centre bounce. O'Dwyer got the tap, not a clear one. Williams took it, then Yeats. Ironmonger tried to get a hand pass in. Williams' short kick was smothered. Stretch took it, lost it, and he's penalised. And a Melbourne player is down behind play. It looks like Brian Wilson, I'm not sure. But it's the Swans with the free kick. David Murphy puts the ball forward. Up high was Spalding, couldn't take the mark. The loose ball comes out. The hand pass. Good defensive work as Lovett takes it. Lovett towards centre wing, but Holden in the front position takes the mark. Craig Holden is Brian Wilson in the hands of the trainers.
He's often on the ground, Brian Wilson, Bob, isn't he?
What are you suggesting, Pete?
All I said is he's often on the ground as we see Newport from the back pocket. Now, is that a free kick that's going to the Swans' way in the forward pocket? It is Greg Williams copying a hard one. Let's have a look in replay. Newport's got it. Oh, that was hip and shouldered by...
Yes, but the ball was more than 5 metres away. Williams wasn't even...
I thought they would have been counted that as shepherding, actually.
You still can't shepherd if the ball's more than 5 metres away.
Won't argue with you on that one, Bob, but there's Greg Williams from 25 metres out on a very acute angle. And the hoots of the Melbourne supporters, and the champion sentiment has missed, and he has put it through for a behind. So some poor kicking going on. 2-2 to 2-4 at the 20 mark of the first quarter, and he is a vital player, Greg Williams. They really want a big game from him today. Stephen Stretch, there's Paul Hawke, you saw in the inset shot there, coming off the ground. Kick towards half-back. Kicked away by Greg Healy. Holden tries to keep it in play, but it beats him as we see the Coca-Cola sign in the background.
I would like to say thank you to Coca-Cola for the refreshments that do help during the game. O'Dwyer puts the ball out, and a free kick comes away of Barry Mitchell. So Mitchell, as Brian Wilson comes off the ground, replaced by Simon Eishold. Mitchell puts the ball forward. Coleman couldn't quite take the mark. And Brett Lovett's quite happy to see the ball run over the boundary line. So a throw-in will take place 10 metres around from the behind post forward pocket for the Swans.
Brett Scott is on the ground, Bob, in place, of course, of Paul Hawke, who just went off a moment ago.
As Hawke hasn't done anything so far. As Earl Spalding gets the tap, it's tapped on by Eishold, and Stevie Wright comes after it, tried to keep it in play, but I don't think he managed to. So a throw-in to take place about 50 metres around from the goals. The last time they met, the Swans won by 36 points. That was in round 12.
Was that in Sydney or here, Bob? Can you recall?
I think it was here. Dwyer gets a big tap out. Mitchell dispossessed. Viney picks the ball up from Melbourne, does well and drives the ball long in towards the centre. Cordy wins out against Robert Flower on this occasion, and now Cordy, as we saw Gerard Healy take it after Brett Bailey slipped. The ball comes up towards the forward area. Stevie Wright couldn't take the mark. Kicked off the ground by Coleman. Picked up by Murphy. Murphy the snap towards goal, but can't get the accuracy right, and 1 point comes on the board. So we see Swans 15, Melbourne 16.
Very, very even contest. John Northey again having a word to his runner. Mark is dropped. I wouldn't have paid that.
I wouldn't have paid it either.
I think he ducked the head and should have marked it Stephen Stretch. Ducked the head on that one and didn't really hold it long enough, but the umpire paid it. Out wide goes Stretch to Healy. Greg Healy from half-back flank. Looking for Flower. Flower and Cordy. Cordy can match it with Flower for pace. A very quick player, Neil Cordy. Ian Roberts attempted the hand pass to him and eventually it was forced over the line.
He's given it a throw. Very technical.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't see it. Now, whose free kick is it? It's going back to Eishold on centre wing. Peter Cameron, a few theatrics in front of the Melbourne member stand, I think, Bob, as we see the ball up towards the forward pocket. Gee, he is makes a big difference in defence, Bernard Toohey. A very stable player, Toohey, a reliable player. He brings it to centre wing. Morwood flies from behind, punches it. Bolton has got it. Tries to attempts to hand pass. Back it comes. Newport, centre wing, chips it wide, and there's Neil Cordy, and that's a great contest. A hand pass. Further afield to Ian Roberts. Roberts looking for Morwood, and he should mark this one, and he does, Tony Morwood, right out in that half-forward flank area. Now, where is Carroll? Carroll is making a lead. Out he comes, and drops the mark. It was a good lead and a good pass, but he couldn't quite hold it. It's deep in that forward pocket. Well, actually on half-forward flank, I should say, and the bounce will take place.
Actually, that really, David Howlett was too quick to blow the whistle then, I thought. Stephen Newport had dived straight on top of the ball. Rain coming down once again. Doesn't go any other way that down, does it? But Healy puts the ball across the ground and Sean White takes the mark. The new idol of the Melbourne crowd.
They love him.
Sean White. It's a nice kick into the centre of the ground. Bolton, Ironmonger punches it away. Quick hand pass. That time came out from Murphy. It comes back now. And Melbourne go forward through Viney. The kick off line. Big Stynes, O'Dwyer was there. Toohey tried to tap it out. Does so. Players dive in from both sides. And the umpire has no option whatsoever but to bounce the ball.
This is a great game, I reckon, Bob. I think there's two very, very desperate sides out there because the loser of this game is finished for 1987. And I think that really makes it the top contest.
No doubt about that, as Tommy Hafey was having a word on the phone. Desperate plays kicked off the ground by Melbourne, but Carter does well. Picked up by Henwood. O'Dwyer not chasing hard enough on that occasion, and Henwood drives the ball up towards the wing, and it's a fine mark taken by Greg Williams.
He even wanted a handball then, didn't he,
And
Bob?
he still does. Hand passes out now, taken by Craig Holden. Holden across towards half forward. Coleman whipped across the front. Scott got it out to Wright. Stevie Wright goes towards goal, but he's offline, out of bounds on the full, and so the result will be a free kick to Melbourne. 15 to the Sydney Swans, 16 to Melbourne. 2-3 to 2-4 as the ball comes out. Stynes picks it up for Melbourne. A little short kick. Now that was deliberate, there's no doubt about that. The Gaelic football coming to the fore in that piece of play by Jim Stynes. It comes back to him again. He's tackled. Should be penalised. And Didn't get boot to ball. It didn't quite work.
He tried it again, the little one off the side, and that time a bit of solid work there. Tony Campbell's coming on the ground. This is good coaching by John Northey, and taking off Big O'Dwyer, Stephen O'Dwyer, because with the slippery conditions, and he didn't chase before, as Bob said, that's probably why he's been taken off. Now, it's on half forward. Greg Williams is looking dangerous. Barry Mitchell, tremendous play over the top, looking for Stephen Wright, but there's the idol of the crowd, the Scotsman. A lot of people think he's Irish.
Defence, wasn't it?
Oh, tremendous. Sean White, and he is going to be a Victorian player next year, in my opinion. Sean White, a very, very colourful player. As it's on half forward for the Swans. Can they score a goal? Stynes punches it away as quick kick comes out of the pack. Sean White slips over, or was it? There was Spalding, in fact. Carroll is there. Graeme Yeats off the ground. This should favour the Swans. Oh, Ironmonger got in the way of Greg Williams there. He should have let the smaller player come through. Newport is tackled. Oh, some strong work going on there. The Swans really putting in. Greg Williams. It's taken away, though, by Bailey. Bailey to half forward. Great mark, Cordy. He's on top of Flower at the moment as he gets it over to Toohey. And Bernard Toohey brings it to half forward. He's looking down there for Glenn Coleman.
Loose play at the moment as Wright gives it across to Coleman. A fresh air shot. It's picked up by Mark Bayes. Bayes hooks the ball over the shoulder up towards the forward area. Danny Hughes not worrying about anything else but thumping it over. And just as it was given by Henwood at the other end of the ground, Danny Hughes made no attempt to keep it in play, so at least they're consistent.
Well, I commented on this out at VFL Park yesterday. Players were just deliberately running over the line with the ball, and the umpires have gone the other way today. They're paying them, and at least they're consistent, as you said, Bob, and that's good. Carroll will make the players try and keep the ball in play and not just defend out of bounds. Here's Carroll from the boundary line. It's a beautiful kick of a football. This is close. I think he might have kicked it. What a great goal.
They talk about captain's goals, and that was certainly one. From the boundary line, Dennis Carroll, the Swan skipper, playing it full forward today, and so was selected at half-back. And the move, well, I personally doubted, but Dennis Carroll is a great goer, and I'm sure that's what Tommy Hafey is looking for from that point of view.
And he's got ability.
Five points the margin in favour of the Swans as Gerard Healy puts the ball forward once again. Brett Lovett leads in the race for the ball, taps the ball forward, and he's quite happy to see it run over the boundary line, so a throw-in to take place.
This is in direct contrast to last week's game, where Melbourne were just doing anything they liked last week under no pressure from North Melbourne. The Swans are putting them under enormous pressure in this first quarter.
Jim Stynes used his body well. Took a long time to get rid of it, but he gets it to Healy. Greg Healy puts the ball forward, but Rod Carter well up the ground with Williams. He's got the loose man out wide. Stevie Wright, a lovely pass, goes to Wright, right towards half forward. Up high was Stynes, couldn't take the mark. He gets good support from Eishold, being told by Lovett that he's clear, so he steadies, drives the ball towards centre wing. Carter in front, Dean loses possession. Rod Carter taps the ball forward. In comes Ian Roberts of the Swans. Roberts thought about the hand pass. Little short kick went over the head that time of his teammate. A good tackle against it. I thought Coop should have got a free kick then. It was an excellent tackle. Siren sounds at quarter time, and the scores are Swans 3-3-21, Melbourne 2-4-16.
Well, an excellent quarter of football. That real finals pressure stuff. Nothing in it, as you can see by the scoreboard, 21-16, 6 scoring shots to 6 from both sides, 2 very, very evenly contesting sides. Good to see that Cordy's playing on Flower, a great contest going on down there. Both backlines at the moment on top. It'll be interesting to see if Coleman can fire at centre forward for the Swans. Carroll also at full forward. If they can fire, the Swans can certainly win this game. In a quarter time, in a great first quarter, Sydney Swans lead by 5 points, 3-3-21 to Melbourne, 2 goals for, a total of 16.
And now let's check the score at the end of the opening term in today's most important final between the Swans and Melbourne. The Swans 3-3-21 lead Melbourne 2-4-16, a margin of 5 points. The goal kickers for the Sydney Swans, Stevie Wright has 2, Dennis Carroll has 1, and for Melbourne, Brian Wilson 1 and Robert Flower 1. Well, let's see just how it all unfolded in this opening term. And as the boys have said, Barry, it's been a good first quarter of football.
Very even quarter of football, Ken. Both neither side getting an advantage in that quarter. And the thing that I do like about the Swans' performance today is their keenness to get in and get the ball, and which was certainly missing last week. So they're certainly working hard to eradicate the problems that occurred against Hawthorn the previous week.
A couple of obviously improved performances, Gerard Healy and Stevie Wright.
Stevie Wright had a great first quarter, kicking a couple of goals, and Healy certainly seems to be looking more freely, moving more freely than he did last week, and I think we're still going to be in for a great game this afternoon.
Coleman's still looking a little bit suspect.
Well, you know, I thought he'd really turn a corner halfway during the year, but certainly the conditions don't really suit him today. But he's got to do a lot more, even if it's just contesting and bringing the ball down to the ground for the smaller players, which is something they haven't had for the last couple of weeks.
OK, let's take a look at the statistics.
Well, the stats are pretty even, and as the scores are, so we really can't get much from those stats at the moment. Handballs is a slight discrepancy, 23-18 in favour of the Swans.
OK, let's take you back to the MCG.
Commencement of play in the second quarter at the MCG. 5 points the margin in favour of the Swans. O'Dwyer got the tap. Ward was held when not in possession. Bayes tackled, loses possession, puts the tackle on Spalding. I didn't think that was too high. Call play on as Spalding goes forward. Flower taps the ball down. The loose ball comes out and it's picked up by Viney. No, Viney leaves it for his teammate, and Yeats comes forward for Melbourne. Yates still trying to gain possession, so too Viney. Free kick should go the way of Stevie Wright. The advantage rule allowed, and Swans go forward. Eventually we find Williams putting the ball up there. Diving attempt to be taken by Mitchell, kept in play by O'Dwyer. Coop puts a little short kick forward, and Melbourne go forward as Eichel puts the ball up towards the forward area. Could have been a free kick to Melbourne, but called play on as they hook the ball up towards the forward zone. Ian Roberts went after it. Taken now by Jackson. Jackson with a hand pass. Back. Yeats steady, straightens up, goes goalward. Nice looking kick off the boot. Excellent goal, Graeme Yeats.
Well, that was beautiful play by Melbourne. As you called it, Bob, I thought it was a free kick out there to Tony Campbell when his arms were pulled off the ball, but the speed of little Ricky Jackson and how Richmond let this little fella go. Well, they might have made a mistake, as we see a beautiful hand pass to Graeme Yeats. Craig Holden ran at him, a lovely directed kick, a high one, and it floats through for a goal. So 1 point the difference in favour of the Demons as we come back to the centre of the ground. Umpire David Howlett. Kicked away by Greg Healy towards half forward. Jackson was leading in the race. Warren Dean, beautiful pass to David Williams. I said earlier in the piece, he's a very quick leader. Now he's going for the long kick, David Williams, from 55 metres. He sets it up. Neil Cordy from behind, but it floats through for a point in the meantime. So the Demons move a little bit further in front. They move on to 3-5-23. The Sydney Swans on 3-3-21.
2 points the margin held by Melbourne as the short pass comes to Bolton, who's able to play on immediately. Puts the ball up towards the centre of the ground. Tony Morwood up high to take a nice mark. Now Earl Spalding running over the mark. Now they're not consistent. Morwood up towards half forward. Punched away by Lovett. First on the scene, Coop. Scott coming in. Carroll. The hand pass from Carroll to Gerard Healy. Healy puts the ball high in the air. Sean White waiting for it. So too Carroll. There's a free kick against White. No call, play on by the umpire. And they're missing a few as Lovett picks the ball up. The hand pass accepted by Stretch. Breaks the first tackle. Hooks it over the shoulder. Ironmonger was there. Gave away a free kick. It should have been a kick to Spalding. But once again, it's not over the line. Eichel trying to get the hand pass in. Call play on, and now Bailey with a hand pass finds his teammate in Newport. Newport a short kick, a great piece of play by Gerard Healy, and strong play now by Carter. Carter comes out, hooks it across in towards the centre. Pushing the back must be paid, and it'll be taken by Stevie Wright.
Stephen Wright is playing an excellent game for the Swans. He's really putting in. He's a great player, Stephen Wright. That was a bit of a push in the back too, I think. But oh gee, they're letting it go as we see out wide. Greg Williams is controlling this game at the moment. He's playing a top game too for the Swans. He swings onto the left foot. An ordinary kick. It was smothered off the boot. It's grabbed by Sean White. He's looking for Tony Campbell. He went out very, very wide and straight over the line. But there's enormous finals pressure on out there. I'm thoroughly enjoying this game. It's a great contest.
Yes, I cannot but agree, Pete. It is a great contest. 2 points the margin. 3-3 to 3-5 Melbourne leading at the moment, 4 minutes into the second term. Ironmonger got the tap, picked up by Bolton, the hand pass out wide, and as Peter said, Stevie Wright playing an excellent game. Carroll in front, great effort by Dennis Carroll, and that's the courage we were talking about earlier when he stood his ground in front there. And on replay now, you see Dennis Carroll, and I may have to eat my words on this one.
I agreed with the move, Bob, and don't forget, I think you've got to have a good player at full forward, and he's got tremendous talent. But the way
I don't remember you agreeing with the move.
I did be. But, I'm going to say it anyway. But Dennis Carroll, he backed into his opponent beautifully. Then let's see if he kicks it for the Swans. There it is. Is it a goal? No, a bad miss, a shocker. 25 metres, and you can't afford to do that on the forward line, and he's not happy with himself. The captain of the Sydney Swans, Daddy Hughes. That'll be a terrific contest. Test that as the day goes on. Hughes towards half back. Is that a mark? Healy is playing well. A hand pass comes out to Barry Mitchell. He sets it up for Coleman. He's pushed out of the pack. Play on, said the umpire. Grabbed by Lovett. Oh, gee, they're under it. The Swans are tackling beautifully and putting enormous pressure on.
Brett Lovett and Brett Scott, his opponent. 5.5 minutes gone in the second term. 1 point the margin between the sides as O'Dwyer gets the tap. Carroll, Murphy diving in, got one too high, but I certainly wouldn't have given a free kick there either.
I think the good news for the Swans is that Williams and Healy, their two big guns, are playing well, Bob.
Well, Newport is now on Healy, so obviously Melbourne think he's doing all right too, and it's thumped through, scores a level. Coleman putting that ball through, so it's 23 points apiece. 3-5, 3-5. There's Danny Hughes from full back. A long kick. Morwood up high, puts the ball down. A bad bounce from Mitchell, but he tackled beautifully. Healy accepted the hand pass. Onto Yeats. Stretch. Took the gamble with the greasy top of the ground and bounced away from him. Dean was up, punched away. A loose hand pass, and it's taken by Healy. Gerard Healy gives the hand pass across the ground. It went past Bolton, but he's able to recover. Ironmonger comes in to lend support. The ball forced forward. Fans, Melbourne fans in the members looking for a free kick. They're getting one now, but they were looking for one earlier. But certainly, I agree with the umpire. It was play on.
Oh, yes, it was good umpiring. And there's Stephen Stretch. Our commentary box is right in the heart of the Melbourne supporters. And you can hear the roars right round the ground. There's Robbie Flower. Oh! Collided with his teammate O'Dwyer, really got in his way then. Williams is covering an enormous amount of territory. Ian Roberts comes in to lend a hand and takes it over the line at the 50-metre mark, half-forward flank.
That was one of those times then when Williams was a little bit too unselfish, because with the help of Roberts, I think he would have been able to get clear for a kick.
Yes, I agree, Bob. There's Tommy Hafey. Great record he's got coaching. Viney, brilliant play by Todd Viney. He crashes his way through, and what a team-inspiring goal that was.
An excellent goal by Todd Viney. He just burst his way through, showed sheer desire and great strength on replay. Todd Viney. Nobody was going to stop Todd Viney on that occasion, and the crowd rises one. Great goal to Todd Viney. 6 points, the margin in favour of Melbourne, 4-5 to 3-5.
Ironmonger got the tap out. There's O'Dwyer, a bad hand pass. Now, Bolton should kick long. He does. But there's no one ducking back except Daddy Hughes. Actually, as it turned out, Carroll let out, and it was kicked straight over his head to Hughes.
Now, there's Bolton's man.
Right, well, there he is. Graeme Yeats has taken a mark uncontested. A long hand pass allows Cordy. Cordy's doing well on Flower. Cordy, a hurried kick. Scott couldn't take the mark. That was over to Spalding, and of course that was from his teammate Lovett. Eventually coming away with it is Bailey. Over to Stephen O'Dwyer, and O'Dwyer a high drop punt towards half forward. Ian Roberts sets himself up. What a good mark coming across the front by Warren Dean.
It's a lovely mark to Dean. He'll be kicking from about 55 metres out. A replay shows Dean excellent mark.
He is a very long kick. He might make the distance from there, Bob.
Kick from Warren Dean. It's a nice looking kick. Won't quite make the distance. It's off the hands of Campbell and through for 1 point. So it's Melbourne 4-6, Swans 3-5.
Well, there's big Wayne Henwood, the man with the job on Warren Dean, a former Subiaco premiership player. He was not selected by the Eagles for their squad. Out wide. Oh, good play. It was by Spalding. Brilliant play by Spalding. He beat two of the Swans players. Not enough desperation by the Swans then.
It was a poor tackle.
It certainly was, as Eichel gets across to Stretch and a long booming kick. Good play by Stretch. Is it a mark? No. As the Swans players caught, he heads for home and gives a point away to the opposition. Well, I think he did the sensible thing then. 4-7 to 3-5. 8 points the difference in favour of Melbourne, as we see the ever-reliable Rod Carter looking for someone to give it to. He's not sure where to kick this one, Bob.
He's signalled as to what he wants, and he elects to go straight up the centre of the ground. Bayes gave away a foolish free kick for mine, but it didn't matter because Eichel took the mark. And Melbourne playing well at the present moment, showing them more aggression and more desire for the ball, and that's a lovely mark by Viney. I'd get Holden away from Viney.
Yes, Holden was out of form and was dropped, actually. You see, a very good mark by Viney, a very courageous player. Always plays in front and attacks the ball, but Craig Holden hasn't been in good form in recent weeks and has only just returned to the side. Viney has already kicked 1 goal, former South Australian. His first season for Melbourne, as is his other half forward there, Warren Dean. There's the kick by Todd Viney. It's not a bad looking kick, and it's a goal.
2 goals to Todd Viney in this quarter. He played an excellent first quarter as well. And Todd Viney, a very, very dangerous player. The replay shows a fine mark. And I would be getting Craig Holden, as I said before, away from Todd Viney.
That Melbourne members stand, and this side of the ground is erupting at the moment, Bob.
$14 points the margin in favour of Melbourne. O'Dwyer gets it, smothered off the boot of Williams, tapped on by Ironmonger. Stevie right there, taps the ball on. It was missed by Sean White, but gets good support from Brett Bailey. Williams was held, we're not in possession. Gets the hand pass out to Bolton. Bolton tackled by Lovett, but breaks the tackle. A nice shepherd by Brett Scott. Sees the ball come forward, but a lovely mark in defence taken by Sean White.
Those forwards for the Swans have to do a lot more, Bob.
And they've got to pick up now because Lovett gets the ball across. Bailey missed it, but had all the time in the world to recover. It's back to Bailey again. Pushed as he was about to kick it, but Eichel takes the mark. No one on it. He gives it across to Flower. A goal coming up as Melbourne put the ball forward, and Flower kicks his second.
Beautiful teamwork that by the Melbourne side, but it all started down on the Swans forward line. A lack of pressure put on by the Swans forwards, and they allowed them to come out far too easily. Beautiful teamwork. Healy across to Bailey, to Eichel, who unselfishly gave it across to Flower, and Robbie Flower doesn't mess around when he's presented with those easy opportunities, as he slammed it through for a goal. 3-5 to 6-7, so 3 goals to the difference now. That's 20 points back to the centre of the ground. O'Dwyer, oh, they've got getting it out of the centre far too easily. That was Healy. Ian Roberts in front. Oh, here they come again. Oh, he lost it, Bailey, but there's Jackson backing up. Off the side of the boot, he goes to the pocket and puts it over the line as the rain tumbles down again here at the MCG.
Swans breaking down up forward. They've added only 2 behinds in this quarter, while Melbourne have kicked 4 goals, 3. John Northey having a word. Throw in the forward pocket for Melbourne. Roberts, kick smothered off the boot. Over the boundary line it goes, and a throw-in will take place.
I'd be tempted to get Coleman off the ground immediately under these conditions. He's done absolutely nothing, Bob, and I'd put Hawke on, have a smaller player. At least they'd have mobility up on that forward line.
Yes, I agree with you, Pete. Williams hooks it over the shoulder, but it's all Melbourne, and Stevens stretches there. Now, you know, look, I'd get Murphy into his natural position on the wing. Bayes where he should be at half forward. Well, that move has already been made. Stretch floats the ball forward, and Ironmonger punches it away, and it's through for one rush point. So David Murphy, number 35, on camera there with Stephen Stretch, and Mark Bayes is at half forward. But, you know, Murphy didn't play well. His natural position's on the wing. Rod Carter, straight up the centre of the ground. Holden, a nice mark. Hand pass to Bolton. Bolton puts the long kick forward. Lovett backing back, takes a nice mark. He's been an excellent player. He's killing them, in fact. Greg Healy, fine mark. Now, I don't know, what was Roberts supposed to do there? Call play on by the umpire now as Healy goes forward. Carter misses a sitter. Ironmonger takes it, can't get the hand passes in, and had no opportunity at all, and the bounce will take place. 23-44 in favour of Melbourne, 15 minutes into the quarter. The last 10 meetings, the Swans have won 6, Melbourne 4. Could easily have been a free kick to Melbourne on that occasion.
There's Greg Williams and Peter Cameron having plenty to say to each other, and well, he's a great goer, Greg Williams. Tremendous value for the Sydney Swans. He's trying his heart out there. But
Surprises me in cases like that when they only talk to one player.
Well, Melbourne lead by 21 points. Well, it's not an insurmountable lead, that one. Now, the umpire said another throw there, Peter Cameron, and Greg Williams showing his disgust. Well, there's Ricky Jackson. Let's have a look at it. There is Carter. Oh, a bit stiff. Gee, that was very stiff.
Well, Cameron was at the other side of the pack.
Well, there's the kick by Jackson. It's a floater. Punch through, I feel, for a behind. Very unlucky then, Carter, with that. I thought he made an attempt to hand pass. It certainly looked like 169 to 3-5. 3-4 the difference. So they need a spurt of 2 or 3 goals quickly, the Swans, to get them back in this game.
They need to kick the next 2 goals.
That's right. There's Carter. Oh, gee, Spalding had his name written all over that. He's playing very well, Earl Spalding. And, gee, what a good find he's been. He and Dean, and look at that kick. A 70-metre kick. The Flyers are there. Here's a chance for a goal. Flower! And it's a goal.
3 goals to Robert Flower. And although Neil Cordy has picked up his few kicks, Robert Flower has really done the damage down there. He's kicked 3 goals, 2 of them in this quarter. And the backman's job is not just to get kicks, you have to stop your opponent, and he's not doing that at this very moment. 23-51. A big break by Melbourne in these conditions. Melbourne interchange. 51-23. Off the side of the boot. The mark taken down there by Murphy. Across to Bolton. Bolton misses it, but is able to recover. Has time to steady. Went to go for the long kick, but it's off the side of the boot. Punched away that time by Coop. Gets good support from Stretch. And Stephen Stretch drives it to half forward. Free kick will go the way of Flower. Called player in the advantage rule. Healy towards goal. Carter right in the last line. And just takes the mark.
Rod Carter, off he goes to Neil Cordy. And Neil Cordy from the back pocket brings it towards Stephen Wright. Can't take it. Robbie Flower, beautiful hand pass to Stretch. Stretch hooks it back to half forward. Some desperate play going on. Brilliant play by to Greg Healy. Here's another one coming up to the Demons as Healy slams it through.
With Melbourne running hot in this quarter, they have added 6 goals, 5. Well, the Swans have not put a goal on the board. They've added 2 solitary points. The book coming out, and it'll be interesting to see what the umpire has written on this one.
Well, I think Simon Eishold's the player offended against. I'm not sure who was actually reported, but I think a couple of books came out.
We apologise, we've lost the picture from Melbourne at the moment. We're endeavouring to restore that picture. As soon as we do, we'll take you back to the MCG. However, we'll stay with the sound so that we can keep in touch with what's happening at the MCG.
To be able to come back. So Peter Cameron still putting the notebook away. David Howlett about to bounce it in the centre of the ground.
I think the players involved with Greg Williams and Simon Eishold.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I think he was getting very frustrated, Greg Williams. And as he sees his side not play well, their forward line is playing very, very poorly, the Sydney Swans. Back it comes. Oh, here's a chance for Warren Dean. He kicks to Stynes. Stynes flies, can't take the mark, and it's forced over the line deep in that forward pocket. They've got to make some moves. I'd be tempted to bring Carroll down the back line, believe it or not, and try Cordy at full forward. He has played there a lot, Bob.
Well, they've got Coleman at full forward now. Bayes in the forward pocket.
Well, Bayes has been very disappointing.
Come out to the half-forward line, and as you said before, in these conditions, surely a Paul Hawke would be better out there than a Coleman, who has done absolutely nothing so far. Melbourne, through the agency of Viney, putting it through for 1 point.
Bayes is coming off the ground. I think with score at the moment is 8-10 to 3-5. That's 58 to 23, and Mark Bayes might be coming off the ground. He hasn't done anything so far, and coming on is Mark Browning as the ball comes to half back, and it's a free kick to the Sydney Swans, and it will go to Gerard Healy, who's being picked up by Steve Newport at the moment. Now Healy started off brilliantly in the first quarter, up towards Tony Moore. He's shoved out of the contest as players go in after this. Simon Eishold, that was good football as he gets it towards half forward. Big Wayne Henwood runs to the line, and did he take it over? That was almost deliberate too, but the umpire...
I can't have that. He was trying to keep the ball in play.
Well, at the finish he was, but I think I don't know about the real intention to keep that in then, Bob.
On the throw-in, O'Dwyer gets the ball down. Jackson, and a hand pass forward, goes after it again. The speed of Jackson as he goes towards goal, but he's offline, and 1 point comes on the board. Kicked by Ricky Jackson, his second.
You wouldn't believe this is the same side, the Swans, that we saw kick 35 goals in a couple of games, Bob.
No, they've really come back to the field since 5 or 6 weeks ago. Murphy, a hand pass to Tui. Tui up towards the forward area. It's Coop and Wright. Coop over the line and made no attempt to keep it in play. Good defensive work by Doug Coop. 21 and a half minutes have gone in the second quarter, and Melbourne lead 59 to 23. No clear tap as Murphy puts the ball forward. Mitchell, the left foot kick off the side of the boot. Carroll, Hughes first on the scene, and I'd get Coleman off the ground as quickly as I could. Yates, Mr. Sitter. Bolton, the hand pass through to Coleman. On to Carroll. Carroll goes short. Tony Morwood couldn't take it, but tapped the ball on. Barry Mitchell coming forward. Caught one too high. Mitchell will take the free kick.
Oh, gee, Greg Williams having plenty to say there, Bob.
Well, he's probably suggesting there's a rule for one, and so Mitchell, a badly needed goal, is the understatement of the year from a Swans point of view.
Well, 22 and a half minutes gone. They need a couple before half-time.
They have not kicked a goal in this quarter. The Demons have added 6. Mitchell's kick will not be a goal. In fact, nobody even looked like taking the mark.
Well, they're very, very poor up forward. The Swans, they're missing Kappa with his marking ability, and but I think they need more than Kappa at the moment, because Melbourne are playing very, very good team football. As Coleman doing the ruckman, the big leap was by White, grabbed by Mitchell, kicks across the face of goal. Tony Moore was there. Can he get there? No, he can't. Eventually it's forced over the line in that forward pocket, about 20 metres around from the behind post. 3-5 plays 8-11, so that's 5 goals, 6, so that's 6 goals exactly the difference. There was a bit of a push out, grabbed by Brett Scott. He picks it up on the left foot, he fires, and he's kicked it, I think. Great goal to Brett Scott.
Well, that was the one the Swans needed. They had to get a goal in this quarter, and they really do need to try and kick the next goal from the centre. As on replay we see Brett Scott take it well, and a lovely left foot kick, the natural foot of Brett Scott. Craig Holden is now on the wing on Stephen Stretch. Mark Browning on Todd Viney.
Ironmonger and O'Dwyer. Oh, brilliant play, Healy. This might get the Swans going. That is brilliant football. Oh, he didn't get the bounce, but he picks it up again. He hooks it back. That's great play, Healy. Is it a goal? I think it is. What a great piece of play by Gerard Healy, Bob.
Magnificent football, that one. He lost it, he regained it, and we did say that they needed to kick that next goal, and the manner that Gerard Healy led the way on replay. One bounce, walks again, this time he loses it, has a chance to recover it, and I didn't give him a chance of kicking a goal at that moment. A wonderful goal to Gerard Healy.
Well, that might lift them. They've kicked 2 goals in a minute. And I'll tell you what, I reckon that's why Healy did that big run, to try and inspire them. There's his brother, Greg Healy, getting it across to big Stephen O'Dwyer. Can the Swans hold them? Oh, Stynes was grabbed by Carter, grabbed by Ricky Jackson. He fires a goal, the little fella, it's a goal.
Touched off the boot.
Oh, touched off the boot, said the field umpire. And the goal umpire down there, Kevin. Let's see this touched off the boot. Bang! Oh, good, courageous decision by the umpire, but he was right there, and the Swans would breathe a sigh of relief.
Ian Roberts went for it. Ricky Jackson really putting the pressure on. Gerard Healy once again. The kick up in the air, punched on by Henwood. Browning's out there. Mark Browning takes it. Hand passes forward over the line. Got a push in the back according to the umpire, and so Mark Browning will finish with the free kick. Melbourne fans not too happy. A little bit technical, Pete.
I thought it was, but I think if the Swans are to win, Browning has to be firing. It has to be on the ground, so I'm pleased to see he's out there.
Brett Scott was up high. Lovett takes it there from Bailey. Puts the ball up towards the centre of the ground, but Roberts comes across to take the mark. Across to Browning. Browning dummied the hand pass from the centre of the ground. Puts it down towards half forward. Coleman was up. Punched away by the Demon defence. Picked up by Bolton. Breaks the tackle. Bolton puts a long kick down towards the forward area. And Lovett's played a superb game in defence for Melbourne.
Well, some of those Swans forwards are really lacking in judgment on some of those quick kicks, Bob.
Lovett puts the ball towards half forward. Or half back, that is. Mitchell able to get the ball up off the hands of the pack. Sean White, beautiful play, kicked off the ground. He's got Healy. It's Hughes who puts it to Healy, all on his own. Healy completely clear, brings it across to Robert Flower, who's got away fair from Cordy. A beautiful pass by Healy, but it started in defence with Sean White putting the ball away, getting it to Hughes. And on replay now, we see Greg Healy finding Robert Flower completely clear. Robert Flower kicking for his 4th goal. 4 goals to Flower.
Well, there's no doubt about the Melbourne champ. He knows he is a great goal sneak. He really does read the play well, and he put himself in the position for that pass. Great play by Sean White, but very poor play by the Swans forwards. 2-on-1, and Sean White beat 2 Swans players and allowed the loose man to develop, and that created the goal.
As I said earlier, Pete, there's no way I would leave Neil Cordy on Robert Flower. The man has already kicked 4 goals, 3 in this quarter. How long does it take?
9-12 to 5-5. 4 goals, 7 the difference. And here they come again. Simon Eishold looking for big Jim Stynes. He flies, he marks. He plays on, he's kicked. And I think he's dubbed it, he has. Another one to the Demons. Kicked by the big Irishman, Jimmy Stynes. And although the Swans look to be coming back, Melbourne have got every answer. 10-12 plays 5-5. What's Stynes? Too tall for Carter, takes the mark and wasn't going to play on. Now he does and puts a low one through for a goal. So the Demons answering everything that the Swans can throw at them.
Cordy now at full back, Carter out on Robert Flower. O'Dwyer with the big punch, taken by Bolton. Bolton's kick off the side of the boot slightly, couldn't be taken by Healy. Good defensive work. Yeats drives the ball forward for Melbourne. Dean couldn't take possession, but he shows great courage to recover. Brilliant play by Warren Dean. Drives the ball forward, and almost a tremendous mark that time by Campbell. Browning got in underneath. No free kick call. Play on Stynes, a snap towards goal. Touched off the boot. 1 point.
Well, the umpires, David Howlett there, and the goal umpire Kevin Andrews combining brilliantly. Then very quick to pick up that touch off the boot, and you can see there the umpires collaborating and saying that it was touched, but they're under enormous pressure now, the Sydney Swans.
The Swans' confidence has dropped. It's gone to pieces.
It's rock bottom. I don't know what's wrong with them, but I don't like that move of Carter on Flower. Flower will cut Carter to pieces as far as agility and pace. I know Rocket will try hard, but he's better on bigger players. As we see Dean, I'd certainly get Carroll up to the back line and get Cordy down to the forward line. I know it sounds but you've got to make the right moves at the right time, Bob.
Well, the forward line are doing absolutely nothing, and there's nothing at all up on the Swans forward line. Free kick to Ironmonger. The hand pass immediately. Mitchell. Love it. Playing an excellent game. Williams. Murphy.
But gee, they like having a go at Greg Williams. I wonder why.
Greg Williams crossing towards the centre. Healy comes out, playing a fine game for Melbourne. Got it to Browning. It's going to be brought back just as well for the Swans, that is, because it went straight into the arms of Sean White. And every time the ball goes forward, it's the Melbourne defence who are leading the way.
I think it's partly good defence and partly poor forward work, a bit of both, Bob.
Well, Melbourne have been excellent in this quarter, where they've kicked 7 goals, 9, and Glenn Coleman will be kicking from 55 metres out. Playing his 99th game, a free kick downfield. Carroll was being held according to umpire Cameron. Sean White arguing. You can't comment on what you didn't see, but, well, I don't know about those ones, Pete.
No, I didn't see it, Bob. There's Earl Spalding and Sean White not too happy, but Peter Cameron must have seen some form of interference in the goal square, and this should be a goal for sure. It's about 3 blokes on the mark, and Dennis Carroll pops it through for a goal.
Dennis Carroll kicks his second goal, and the Swans 6-5. Melbourne 10-13, so it's 23 scoring shots to 11, and in this quarter, that is the way the game has been played. Melbourne have kicked 8 goals, 9, while the Swans, they have gone now with 3 goals, 2 on the board, but 8 goals, 9 to Melbourne, a magnificent quarter of football. Dennis Carroll stats, recruited from Albury, 41-73. Ironmonger wins the tap. Melbourne applying pressure all over the ground. Viney again breaks the tackle, drives the ball forward. Bolton gains it. The hand pass across to Mitchell. Thought about the hand pass, steadies, puts it towards centre half forward. Carroll up high to take the lovely mark. Siren sounds for half time, but Dennis Carroll will have his kick. And the Swans skipper, well, what a vital kick. He's never had a more vital kick in his life.
They want this one desperately, just to give them that little bit of impetus for that second half. Here's the kick. Dennis Carroll right in front. He kicks it high. It floats away. I think he's missed. He has 1 point. And what a disappointment of the captain. There's the scoreboard on screen. 6-6-42, the Sydney Swans were outplayed by Melbourne badly in that quarter. Melbourne at half-time on 10-13, a total of 73. So 31 points the difference, Bob.
Yes, and that came because of that second quarter. 8 goals, 9. 17 scoring shots to Melbourne, 7 to the Swans, where they kicked 3 goals, 4. And it was a dismal performance by the Swans. Mark Bayes off the ground, Paul Hawke off the ground. I would have had a Hawke on the ground in these conditions. I didn't think Coleman was doing enough up forward. Paul Hawke would have been of a lot more dangerous. We see Simon Eisholt and Robbie Flower coming off the ground. Flower's got 4 goals, 3 in that quarter against Neil Cordy. And Simon Eisholt coming on against Brian Wilson, an excellent player, and he did his job, but the Melbourne defence was superb. Every time the Swans got the ball forward, they were repulsed by the demons of defence. Every one of those Melbourne defenders did their job. Brett Lovett was excellent on the half-back flank. Sean White, Danny Hughes, Earl Spalding. When it got forward, Todd Viney was a great player. Robbie Flower, as I said before, with 4 goals. Viney's got 2. Wilson 1 early in that first quarter. Graeme Yeats has kicked 1, and 1 to Greg Healy and Jim Stynes. Whilst for the Swans, 2 to Stevie Wright, 2 to Dennis Carroll, 1 to Brett Scott and Gerard Healy. Half-time scores at the MCG. Melbourne 10 goals, 13, 73. Swans 6-6, 42.
By round 7 of the 1987 home and away series, the Sydney Swans had taken all before them. They were perched on top of the VFL table, and their fans had claimed they'd finally come of age as a VFL heavyweight, and a premiership was in their sights. The thought of Sydney taking the flag was too much for Melbourne-based fans, but the Swans continued their relentless march to the finals. By round 16, Sydney's form had reached a peak, and they entered the history books as the first team to kick 30 goals 3 times in succession. It seemed nothing could stop Sydney. They were no longer the VFL's ugly ducklings. They had emerged as the all-powerful Sydney Swans. But that was a few weeks ago, and that's a long time in the grueling world of VFL football. The Swans have slumped in no uncertain fashion, and last week Hawthorn inflicted the toughest blow with a massive 99-point victory over the hapless Swans. Today is make or break day for Sydney, and it is indeed an ironic fact of life that their opponent should be Melbourne on first semi-final day, 1987.
Out wide, a chance for Dennis Carroll to kick a goal, and he caps it off brilliantly.
And the Sydney Swans certainly not looking too flash at half-time as we check the quarter-by-quarter scores and goal kickers. At the end of the opening term, they were 5 points in front of Melbourne. They now trail by 31. A great quarter for Melbourne. 10-13-73 leads 6-6-42. Let's check the goal kickers for you. We see that Robbie Flower has kicked 4, Todd Viney 2, Wilson, Yeats, Stynes and Healy 1 apiece. For the Sydney Swans, Wright has 2 and Carroll 2, and Scott and Healy 1 apiece. So it hasn't been a great second quarter for the Sydney Swans, Barry.
A dreadful quarter, Ken, and really you can put it down to the Swans forward line, and I think you'll probably find collectively they wouldn't have probably had 12, 13 kicks between them. One of the few occasions there that Tony Moore took a mark. And it's not so much that they're not getting a kick, it's the way that they're letting the Melbourne oppositional defence take the ball back out. And time again, we saw it come down the ground uncontested and just finish off with a goal at the other end.
Well, the Swans forward line obviously has shot the ribbons without Warwick Kappa, but one must say that the Melbourne defence is doing an excellent job.
Oh, well, they're just harassing them at all times. They're judging the ball to perfection, and it's not certainly helping the Swans forwards the way the ball is coming in. But I really can't see what Tommy can do at half-time. He really has to restructure the side to try and get some drive in that forward line.
It seems to be asking a lot for Tommy to restructure a side.
Well, he's not renowned for making moves, Ken, but I think on his last chance for the season, he's got to try and do something.
Yes, well, nothing has worked thus far, and certainly it's going to be a fairly difficult one. Browning's done reasonably well for them since he came on.
Well, he didn't have much to beat in relation to what the other players were doing. Some of the player that he replaced, Mark Bayes, a tremendous disappointment, and we all know the ability that Bayes has got, yet certainly doesn't produce it and doesn't certainly go hard enough for mine when the chips are really down.
He's too lazy, isn't he, really? When it all comes down to it, he's a lazy player.
Just doesn't work hard enough with the ability he's got. Simple as that. There we saw Mitchell go over, and he's had a pretty quiet game. But again, the reaction to the Swans players there was fairly quiet. No one came in to give him a hand. And this goal was absolutely sensational by Healy. And if that did not lift the players, nothing would. And as it turned out, it didn't.
Well, Greg Williams certainly doing his share of the work.
Greg Williams and Healy and Stevie Wright, possibly the only 3 players that certainly could hold their head up at half-time. They've all tried their hardest, and ironically, they've been the three players that have really kept them going most of the year.
Well, we've talked about Sydney's defence on numerous occasions, and of course that's been led by Rod Carter, but it's certainly not doing the job either, is it?
No, certainly not today.
OK, let's take a look at the statistics, Barry. What do we got?
I think you find there that the statistics are fairly even if you're just looking at the actual kicks, marks and handballs, etc. But what's happening is that the Melbourne players are using the ball much better than the Sydney Swans and certainly are taking advantage of the possessions that they are winning.
All right, that's the way the statistics stand at half-time.
Another chance for Sparks. A long hand.
The Melbourne Demons have had the kind of year that sporting dreams are made of. In April, they made it through to the grand final of the National Panasonic Cup Night Series, and the success-starved Demons were determined to make the most of the opportunity. In the home and away series, the D's were enthusiastic, but few gave them much chance of making it through to the final. Many experts claimed the Demons were too inconsistent, too raw. But in the last game of the season, the young Melbourne combination achieved the impossible. They beat Footscray and made it through to the final series for the first time since 1964. The experts continued to doubt Melbourne's ability under finals pressure. Their dream would come to an end. North Melbourne would be too skilled in the cutthroat elimination final. But Melbourne have long been starved of success. They've been down and out too long, and it's difficult to overcome the determination of a team so possessed with the thought of victory. Today, their army of fans are willing them on to victory, and the young Demons will give it their best shot in the 1987 Speedo first semi-final. And it certainly won't be very long before we find out whether or not they're going to be in the preliminary final of 1987. Well, Steve Silvani lined up yesterday at full back on Hawke spearhead Jason Dunstall. Did an excellent job in restricting the strong forward to only 2 goals before Dunstall left the ground injured in the third quarter. We spoke with Silvani in the Blues dressing room after the match.
You played a top game.
It wasn't too bad. Overall, the team played really well, and we were just happy to come away with a win.
Well, in a low-scoring game like that, I suppose the defences can pat themselves on the back, and you were the sort of cornerstone for the defence.
Oh no, I think everyone in our back line played really well. We were all very tight, and it was a team effort today.
And I know that you were so disappointed about missing the grand final last year, so I reckon you had an extra edge to you, that you were just determined to be among the best and be there in a fortnight's time, eh?
Yeah, today I wanted to make sure that I was there in that grand final day, and I've been thinking about it all week, and thank God that I played reasonably well today.
I'm surprised you've only been thinking about it all week. I thought it might have been all year.
Oh yeah, I probably have been thinking about it all year.
Well, you've been moved around a little bit. You've been used in a lot of positions at Carlton. Is full-back where you're going to slot in, do you think?
Well, at the moment, I'm just happy to get a position anywhere, but I know wherever the coaches and the selectors feel fit to play me, I'm happy at the moment.
Well, there we are, Stephen Silvani, full-back yesterday. And now let's return you to the MCG and Bob and Peter.
Thank you very much, Ken. Second half of football, Melbourne 73, Swans 42, 31 points the margin. Can the Swans come back as O'Dwyer wins the tap? Holden comes through, couldn't quite get the ball clear. Umpire Cameron got in the way of Bolton. Bolton was tackled, loses it, picked up by Holden, who drives the ball back in towards the centre. Coleman taps the ball down. Lovett leads in the race for the ball. Sean White lending support. Lovett kicks it off the ground. Over the boundary line on the full it goes. A free kick to go the way of the Sydney Swans.
Well, if the Sydney Swans have got any pride at all, Bob, they will come back hard in this quarter. They're kicking to the scoring end. Unfortunately, the rain is starting to drizzle down again. Certainly, they're kicking the ball a little bit further at the end that the Swans are kicking to. There's almost a mark to O'Dwyer, grabbed by Spalding, who's been a tremendous player. He's had a great final series. Spalding over to Yeats. Yeats to Flower, and Robbie Flower takes a great mark, and I don't like this move of Carter on the half-back flank.
Who would you put on Flower?
Well, I would certainly... I'd put Carroll up there on the half-back flank in his rightful position, and try Cordy down the forward line.
Carroll's too loose for Flower.
Well, anyway, I don't think Carter is a key position player.
There's a couple being thrown there.
I reckon. And I think the Swans will come back hard, and that might be...
The big Irishman's having a few words, Jim Stynes.
Oh, gee, Jared Healy's having plenty to say too. There's a bit of feeling out there. I think the Swans are going to really serve it up in this quarter to Melbourne.
Well, they need to do something because Melbourne have taken them apart in the second quarter when they kicked 8 goals 9 to 3 goals 3. And the Demons, well, Demon by name, and that's the way they've played. They really have. Stevie Wright must get the free kick. Stynes in the way, so a 15-metre penalty. And Stevie Wright, short of half-back. Drives it towards centre wing. Coleman up with O'Dwyer. Neither player can take it. And a ridiculous piece of football by Coleman. The advantage rule allowed. On goes Spalding. Ironmonger punches it away, but a free kick has been found, and Cordy will take the kick.
There's a lot of free kicks being given as Cordy gives it across to Tui. Tui wide, but Melbourne too quick and too good. Oh, gee, stretch over, ran that one though, and luck's a fortune because Mitchell was 5 metres behind. He's got it though, Barry Mitchell at centre wing. He kicks it long. He's looking for Carroll over the back. And punching the ball away was Spalding, and they've been badly beaten up forward, the Swans, by that strong Melbourne defence. Coleman is playing at centre-half forward. I'd be tempted to have him off the ground and have the smaller player in Hawke on the ground for a bit of mobility. The rain is still coming down. Conditions just a little bit slippery. He'll favour the smaller players. There's Eyeshoulder, who's done well on Greg Williams since coming on the ground. Over to Stretch. Stretch to half forward. Some strong work going on. Browning charges after it against Viney. Browning's got it, hand passes it straight over his head and over the line on the true centre wing position. And there's a good close-up shot of the crowd who are loving this exhibition by Melbourne. 3 minutes gone. John Northey has done a magnificent job this year. 10-13 to 6-6, and now a free kick to big John Ironmonger, who has battled hard today in the ruck. Hasn't had many kicks, but it certainly has been contesting well.
Ironmonger's handball accepted by Browning, who put a shocking kick forward, and Spalding, who is taking Coleman apart. Why Hawke is off the ground, I do not know in these conditions. Rain coming down, the mobility of Hawke compared to Coleman, well, I don't think there's any comparison. Tui, tackled, well tackled, but got boot to ball, straight to the opposition though, and that's created by the tackle of Ricky Jackson. Stretch. No opponent at all. Drives the ball long up to the forward zone. Stynes can't take the mark. The Swans under real pressure as the loose ball comes to Campbell. Campbell a snap towards goal. 1 point the result.
Well, that's luck's a fortune for the Swans there. That would have really put the nail in the coffin. 10-14 to 6-6. They want goals, and they want them very, very quickly. And the rain coming down a little bit more heavily now. Worried looking Tom Hapey, but he's still, even though it's pretty cold here, he's still got that T-shirt on, Tommy. Centre half back and getting very dark here at the MCG as Big O'Dwyer picks it up. The rain tumbling down. Here come the Demons again, and a mark has been taken about 35 metres out from goal by Warren Dean. And as I said, it's getting very dark and wet. That was Eyeshoulder, hurry kick on the left foot. And they're in front all the time, those Melbourne forwards. He's had 6 kicks. And Warren Dean is yet to score a goal, but there it is. It's a goal.
Lovely goal to Warren Dean. 11-14-80 as we watch the replay. And beautiful smothering. Eyeshoulder, who's done a superb job since coming on. 42-80. 38 points the margin. .38 points, the gap between the sides as O'Dwyer again wins the tap. Browning leads in the race for the ball. Tried to kick it off the ground, tackles Viney too high. Viney breaks the one tackle, then another, but runs into trouble and is penalised accordingly as the Swans.
Oh, stupid play, Ironmonger. Stupid play. That is just giving the game away.
Particularly when you've got possession of the ball. Simon Eyeshoulder. He's done a fine job for Melbourne. Puts it forward, thumped away by the defence. Roberts takes it, drives it out towards the half-back flank. Browning first on the scene. A little short kick up towards the centre wing. Brett Scott couldn't handle it. Could have been a free kick to Melbourne, but not needed as Todd Viney picks it up. Back towards half forward. The kick's over the boundary line. and it'll be a free kick to the Swans.
And I think the last thing that the Swans wanted was rain. I think they wanted it fine, and to have any chance of coming back will be very difficult under these slippery conditions, Bob.
Yes, I'll go along with that, Pete, but the way Melbourne are approaching the ball and attacking it, I don't think it would matter whether it was wet, dry, or otherwise. You could play it in a swamp, and I reckon that Melbourne would be on top the way they were approaching their game. Holden. Up high was Spalding, couldn't take the mark. He gets good support from Lovett, who was held when not in possession of the ball. And Brett Lovett, no better player on the ground for mine.
Well, he was discarded by Hawthorn, is that right? Captain of the Hawthorn under-19s.
He was. Lovett puts it towards half forward. No mark. Campbell over the top, tapped back by Browning. Holden comes in, gathers it well, hooks it over the shoulder. Dangerous probably because it comes to Healy. Healy goes goalward. Offline, 1 point the result.
Here's goal up by Kevin Andrews, signaling that point. 11-15, you can see by the scoring shots, 26-12. Well, that's how dominant Melbourne have been. A great performance this by Melbourne again. And the Melbourne football public getting right behind the Demons, and plenty of supporters who aren't really normally Melbourne supporters here too. There's Lovett, who's been such a good player, and so is Spalding. He is thrashing Glenn Coleman. Now, let's see what Browning can do. A magnificent pass finds Tony Morwood. Morwood wide to Murphy, who's been quiet. Murphy kicks a very high one, offline and through for 1 point. The Swans badly want goals. There's David Murphy. He's had a pretty quiet day, 11-15 to 6-7. Admittedly, he's coming back from injury. First quarter has been going nearly 8.5 minutes. The third quarter, I should say, 8.5 minutes. Danny Hughes, geez, a reliable player. Beautiful long kick too. Up goes Coleman, misjudged that one badly. Oh, beautiful tap on. That's excellent play to Stephen Stretch. He runs to half forward and kicks long. A beautiful long kick. Goal! What a great goal to Stretch.
Beautiful goal, and what a glorious tap on it was to allow Stretch to set up that piece of play. Over the top was superb as we watch on replay. Coleman up they come. And Todd Viney up high to put the ball over the top, and the combination of the South Australians, Stretch from West Torrens, the boy from Sturt, Todd Viney, getting the ball to him, and the Melbourne are running hot. 44 points the margin. 13 kicks, no handballs, but that is not, as we see, the light towers. And it might not look too dark, but there is rain still falling here at the MCG.
The lights are on, actually, Bob.
Ironmonger trying to tap the ball on. Healy kicking it out of Healy's hands, and it's a free kick to Mitchell. Brother against brother down there, Gerard and Greg. Greg Healy, who turns 22, I think it is, this week. Murphy carried over the line, and the desperation of the Melbourne side now. Lovett, it looks like, has slid right into the fence, but the way he's playing, when you're playing like that, you'd have to be dead to come off. Murphy slides in there, tries to tap the ball forward. Williams gets it forward to Morwood. Morwood offloaded. David Murphy there again. Healy and Williams. Williams kicks the ball off the ground, and Greg Williams puts it through for a desperation goal.
12-15-87, 7-7-49, the Sydney Swans, and that was sheer desperation, that by Greg Williams. What's in the pack? As he charged through, kicked it off the ground. He's got plenty of determination, Greg Williams, and been in a few altercations today. He's a very, very good player, Greg Williams. Back to the centre with big John Ironmonger. They need a couple of goals, and they need them badly. There's Ironmonger against Stynes. Little Steve right out to Healy. Here they come again. Healy with a booming kick, a great kick. And ducking back was Danny Hughes. It was going through for a behind anyway, but Healy showing what enormous skill he has got on that occasion. That point takes Sydney on to 7-8. Melbourne are on 12-15 as the ball is brought back to half-back. Oh, here they come again. Ricky Jackson beautifully out wide. Flower against Carter. Rod Carter, loses it to Flower, and here they come again. Warrendine's got an open goal. He runs to 40 metres, and it's a shocking kick, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Yes, he had every opportunity there. Completely clear. But, well, you can't get them all. As Tony Morwood comes off the ground and Paul Hawke back on the ground. First time since early in the first quarter. Eichel tried to tap it forward. Williams couldn't kick it off the ground. Dean comes out with the ball for Melbourne. Swings onto the left foot and drives it towards centre-half forward. Campbell takes the mark, getting away from Bernard Toohey. And so Tony Campbell will be kicking from 40 metres out on replay. Warren Dean floats the ball forward, and a nice mark to Tony Campbell.
Campbell from 40 metres, there's a kick, and no doubt about it, it's another one. A good camera shot from behind the goals, 13-15 to 7-8, and they're doing it well. And in desperation, this isn't going to help them, I don't think. Coleman's gone to centre-half back, and Big Hen with the centre-half forward. I'd have Morwood on the ground. I think I'd have Coleman off, Bob, under these conditions. I don't think it's going to help them anyways. We see the mark taken by Campbell, a strong mark in front of Bernard Toohey, but at the moment, they're being thoroughly outplayed. 43 points of difference. A very fine effort this by the Melbourne side. Greg Williams, he won't give up. Hurry kick to Hawke, who was grabbed high, and Paul Hawke in the centre of the ground. Now, can they score a couple of quick goals? Over to Steve Wright. Their forward line has really been non-existent today. There's Dennis Carroll from behind. Great punch away to Bailey, to Stynes. Ian Roberts will lead Stynes in the race for the ball. He'll try and keep it in play. Back it comes to half forward. Craig Holden, Sean White drops the mark. He gets in a quick hand pass, stretch. Allows his teammate, is that Lovett, to bring it back towards centre wing. Coleman knocks it on, all kicked off the ground by Stynes. Good play, Ironmonger, to Browning. Browning to half forward. That Melbourne defence too strong, and again they take it away. But here's Bolton to Williams. Here's a big chance for the Swans. Over to Bolton. Oh, great play by Lovett to run him down. Beautiful play. Danny Hughes, tremendous defence by Melbourne. Centre of the ground, the Swans are trying hard, but Melbourne too good. Dean out to Eichel. Eichel to full forward. Neil Cordy has it punched away. Campbell still got it. Off the ground. Goal. Tremendous goal.
2 goals to Tony Campbell. And that one coming out of defence with a great piece of play by Brett Lovett, which set things up for Melbourne. Eichel also in the thick of things, taking that long hand pass from Dean, and the replay sees Eichel put the ball forward. Neil Cordy couldn't take the mark. Tony Campbell comes through, forces the ball forward, and then finishes up kicking it off the ground for a great goal. .49 points to lead, held by Melbourne, 99-50. Sun breaking through at the moment. Maybe that'll give the Sydney boys a lift as Stevie Wright takes the mark, but they need help from somewhere. I don't know where it's going to come from.
Up to full forward, the kick by Wright. Sean White over the top to David Murphy. He's caught. Been a very quiet player. A knock on. Oh, they can do no wrong, Melbourne. Danny Hughes, the half back, and the ball falls into the hands of Paul Hawke.
So Hawke, who's spent a lot of time off the ground. Paul Hawke, Mark Bayes has been spent most of the time on the interchange bench. Tony Morwood's there now as Hawke goes backwards across the ground. Nothing gained by that at all.
He must like Glenn Coleman. Well, I mean, he's hardly had a touch. Why would he still be on the ground, Glenn Coleman? I don't want to be unkind, but under these conditions, you've got to have smaller players out there when it's slippery. There's a magnificent looking kick by Browning. And, well, they've been, in all fairness, they've been thoroughly outplayed. Now, big Wayne Henwood's off the ground and Bayes is back on. So I think he's a bit nonplussed, Tommy. They've been thoroughly outplayed. It's not easy to coach when you're getting thrashed. There's the kick by Hughes to half-back. Bolton is there for the Swans. He's got it. Play on, said the umpire. Williams is attacked from behind by Spalding. Off the ground it goes by Big Ironmonger. Grabbed by Greg Williams. Now a big chance for Dennis Carroll. He's got the bounce of it. He hooks it back. It bounces. Sean White. Oh, brilliant diving attempt by Sean White, and taps it through for a point. And do the crowd love him.
And so they should, because that's the sort of thing. Look at that desperation. That's magnificent football by Sean White. Great play. Off the hands of the pack. The loose ball comes very close to the boundary line. And a free kick has been found, pushing the back, going the way of the Melbourne winger, Graeme Yeats. Yeats hand passes on to Newport. Newport's kick smothered by Stevie Wright. Over the boundary line it comes. A throwing to take place on centre wing. Freeze 24-15 in favour of the Swans. They need a bit more than that. 52-99. Bailey couldn't quite take it. Greg Williams forces the ball forward. Stevie Wright picks the ball up, floats it towards half-forward line. Earl Spalding came in to punch it away from Melbourne. It's Brett Bailey who gets a hand pass to Newport. Newport's kick off the side of the boot. Stretch came in, tapped it well ball forward. Mitchell gets the hand pass to Hawke. The short kick across the ground, straight to Browning. Browning thought about the hand pass. Now he goes short onto Holden, and that player takes the mark with the second grab.
Jimmy just going around in circles, so and getting nowhere. Now they're a chance, but oh, geez, played a good game. Love it. He goes in after it again. Backing him up is Sean White, and he kicks it out long to the boundary line. In fact, he puts it over the line deep on that half-forward flank. Now, Craig Holden will take the kick. Time clock is just ticking away. 18.5 minutes gone. Short pass comes to Healy. Newport's had the job on Healy for the last couple of quarters. He's only kicked one goal. Don't forget here, they're hooting him. He was the hero here a few years ago for Melbourne. He's had 11 kicks and 3 handballs. A great player, Gerard Healy. Getting over a stress fracture of the foot, of course. You saw that ankle heavily taped there under that right sock. And last week he kicked very poorly. I'm sure it was because of that injury. Gerard Healy right on the boundary line. He's just the sort of player who might kick this. Is a magnificent kick normally. It's very, very close. In fact, it's a great goal.
2 goals to Gerard Healy, and the Swans 8-10-58, Melbourne 14-15-99. So 41 points. Now the lead by Melbourne. We're approaching the 20-minute mark of the third term. As we said in the second quarter, the Swans, if they are to be in there with a chance, must kick the next goal. Gerard Healy's stats. Ironmonger got the tap wide. Stevie Wright comes through. The hand pass accepted by Browning. Well smothered by Stynes. Flower that was. Allowed the ball to come forward. Stynes puts a long kick down. And a great effort to mark by Campbell. Couldn't do so. O'Dwyer right there. Snapped towards goal by Warren Dean. Is offline. So far, in fact, that it's out of bounds on the full. But nonetheless, Melbourne's still down there attacking. And Dean has been a dangerous half forward. Said a number of times this year that if the same man was responsible for recruiting Earl Spall, Warren Dean and Todd Viney in the same year, what a success story. The 3 of them, all great players for Melbourne as the loose ball comes forward. Campbell taps it over the top. Carter gets the hand pass in. Browning waited, now gets the ball forward with the right foot kick. Brett Bailey's there with Paul Hawke. Bailey taps it on to Stretch. Stretch has got the loose man in Healy. He'll play on. The open goal looming up as Greg Healy goes towards goal. Great goal for Melbourne. Greg Healy kicks his second.
Well, once again, brilliant play by the Demons, starting with Bailey right out there on the wing. It's tapped on wide to Stretch. Stretch, a magnificent foot pass on the left foot to Greg Healy at the 50-metre line. He's got great presence of mind to just take his time, touch it on the ground, open up the goal, bang, and a beautiful goal to Greg Healy. 8-10 to 15-15, and they've got every answer for the Swans. There's Holden, a hurry kick, a wobbly one, but this guy's played a tremendous game. Brett Lovett, half-back flank, and has really, really done well. Or is in the back pocket, Bob?
Half-back, I think.
The half-back. Well, there is Williams. Oh, Ricky Jackson, he really has got a lot of pace. That occasion he kicks straight to Brownie, and Brownie almost kicks it backwards. And straight over the line on half-back flank for the Sydney Swans, half-forward for Melbourne.
Tui's off, Morwood back on.
Well, I think they're pretty desperate at this stage. 22 minutes gone, third quarter, and, well, it looks like they're a big chance at the moment to meet Hawthorn in the preliminary final next week, who they've beaten twice this year, once in a night game and once in a home and home. Oh, there's a great desperation by Melbourne. There's Ricky Jackson. It was great play by Stretch to smother that ball. Here's a chance for Flower. Flower with a hand pass. The ball is smothered. It's still at half forward. A hand pass out to Yeats. Yeats kicks it back to full forward. The bounce favours Browning, and he taps it through for a point. He could have grabbed it, but thought he was under pressure.
Well, it's the players around Browning that have to do the talking in a situation like that. Swans interchange bench. Bernard Tui putting on the dressing gown, and Neil Cordy plays on from full-back. Then goes short towards the half-back line. Great effort by Newport, and taking a call play on. Newport almost throws the ball away. Healy taps the ball forward. Lovett picks it up. I'm repeating myself, I know, but Lovett has been magnificent for Melbourne. Lovely pass to the big fellow in O'Dwyer. But what a game Brett Lovett has played. The former captain of Hawthorn under-19s. If he's ever played a better game, I certainly haven't seen it. From the moment the game started, Brett Lovett has been superb. Stephen O'Dwyer, recruited from St Bernard's in the amateurs. O'Dwyer out suspended last week. The kick from O'Dwyer through for 1 point. Like a true ruckman.
Well, he and Jim Stynes have had extensive ruck coaching this year by former Hawthorn great Don Scott, of course, and well, he's certainly done wonders, Don Scott, with those ruckmen. Peter Moore, in fact, the Brownlow Millers can't get a game at the moment with the Melbourne side. I think Scotty Bob might have also showed him how to kick after that one. There's the kick coming down towards centre wing. Up they go. It's punched away to Mitchell. Mitchell hooks it back to half forward where Danny Hughes, the ever reliable Danny Hughes, he's always there doing the hard things, the contesting. John Northey must be a really, really happy man at the moment to be coaching a team of goers like this.
No doubt about that, Pete. And you've summed it up. A team of goers right over the ground as Paul Hawke takes possession. Hooks the ball forward. Williams couldn't take possession. Holden, but beautifully tackled by Stephen Stretch, who in tackling tapped the ball out of Holden's hands, and the ball went over the boundary line. Just another example, as we see on replay. Now there it was, he thumped the ball out of the hands. Beautiful defensive work by the Demons. Murphy gets it to Scott. Brett Scott with a long kick towards the forward area, but he's offline, and so Brett Scott has kicked the 1 goal, 1 out of 8 goals, 11. But it's 32 scoring shots to 19, 107 to 59. Melbourne completely holding sway, and deservedly so. Clapping is for O'Dwyer coming off the ground, and Williams back onto the ground for Melbourne as the ball goes over the boundary line. Just a little bit further away from the Swans' goal than half forward. And they are in dire straits. 48 points the margin, and they've only kicked 59 points so far as Greg Williams traps it. Try to get the hand pass to Mitchell. Free kick must go the way of Barry Mitchell. And the little battler from Mulgrave with the aid of a 15-metre penalty. It's a decent 15 metres too.
That's about 30.
I wouldn't mind buying some land off Peter Cameron. Off the hands of the pack. Doug Coote first there, and he's happy to see it run through for 1 rush point to the Swans.
Well, Doug Coote would be rapt to be part of this side. He's been round the football merry-go-round. I think North Melbourne, he was a former South Melbourne player, wasn't he, Bob? So at his third league club, and he would be delighted. There he is, the player I mentioned, Doug Coote on screen towards centre wing. Ian Roberts to half forward. Oh, Spalding, gee. I don't know, I'm pretty sure the Eagles could have recruited Spalding and Warren Dean. I'll tell you what, I reckon they've made a big blue with both of them as we see Earl Spalding take a strong mark. They could have done with the centre half back too, the Eagles this year.
Melbourne may have already got them beforehand.
Oh, got the mail. They could have got them, Bob, I think.
Well, you get better mail than I. As Sean White takes a lovely mark. Maybe a little bit foolishly playing on, but this man can do no wrong, Brett Lovett, as he hooks the ball back in towards the centre. Bailey brought it down. Yeats gives support, drives the ball forward. At the back, it's Williams. He hand passes to Jackson. A goal coming up from... No, he's missed it. No, it's a goal.
Well, once again, fantastic teamwork from Melbourne. Look at the Melbourne supporters. They're wrapped. Bailey, strong work. Yeats, hurried kick up towards the forward line. It's grabbed by Williams. A beautiful 30-metre hand pass. We thought he might have missed it, Ricky Jackson. Oh, no, it was well in with goal umpire put us off running across, and a lovely goal for the little rover. They're far too good, Melbourne.
Yes, they are playing superb football. They fully deserve their lead.
Well, Ricky Jackson, gee, he'd be delighted. He was discarded by the Richmond club, and now he's a vital part of this Melbourne machine at the moment, and that's how they're playing. At half-back, they can't do a thing wrong. At the moment, they look like meeting Hawthorn in the preliminary final at VFL Park next week. What a game that'll be. Rod Carter, strong mark. Centre half-back. I wonder if Rod will be settling up next year for the Swans. Oh, look at that for desperation. That's holding the ball almost.
Yes, there's no doubt it was holding the ball.
And Peter Cameron...
That was certainly holding the ball.
Well, Peter Cameron not playing. Let's have a look at it again. The desperation. Murphy. Look at the desperation by Ricky Jackson. He's lying on it.
He wasn't actually tackled, though.
No, I think he was right, Peter Cameron, as the ball is kicked away by Coleman. It's at half. Hawke and Browning. Oh, gee, look at the pressure. Tremendous play. Spalding to Stynes. It's still almost in the centre of the ground as the Melbourne players pounce on it. They're not going to let that ball go loose, and they want to really swamp the Swans. Peter Cameron and David Howell at the umpires have done a fair job. They didn't do well early, but in the last quarter or so, they've done pretty well. 28 3/4 minutes gone in the third quarter, and it looks like it might be the end for the Swans.
Ricky Jackson dummies beautifully. The hand pass towards Viney. He gets away with it. Hand passes to Yeats. This will be a goal. Graeme Yeats, no mistake about it, right through the centre.
Well, that's Graeme Yeats' second goal, and it all came about once again by magnificent teamwork by the Melbourne side. 17-17 now they are. 119 to 8-12-60. Look at that. Ricky Jackson across to Viney. Unselfishly, he gives it to Yeats. He could have kicked it himself, Viney. And Yeats, a loose man, bang, and he slams it through for another one. This is delightful football, and they cannot do a thing wrong.
Graeme Yeats, 10 kicks, 5 handballs, 15 possessions to Graeme Yeats, and 2 fine goals. Centre bounce. Holden. Lovett once again. Beautiful play by Lovett. Gets it on to Healy. Touches it once on the ground, and Melbourne, well, what more can they do? They have been superb, and the former Hawk under-19 captain has led the way.
They haven't got a weak link, Bob, for the second week in a row.
No matter where you look, Melbourne are doing well. Stynes gets the ball down. Coleman has the kick smothered off the boot, and it's rushed through for 1 point. Exactly double the score. Look at that by Brett Bailey. And it's forced through by Bays, but great play, Bailey. Flower! What a lovely mark, Robert Flower.
Geez, they love him, don't they? 4 goals, and that was a tremendous mark as Flower sets it up. Can someone take a mark? It's punched away by Coleman. Browning grabs it at half-back. Oh, he took far too long to kick that, and it was under enormous pressure, and it really went nowhere. Straight out of bounds in front of the Melbourne member stand. There's the siren for another brilliant exhibition of football by Melbourne in that quarter, and the members stand, and all the Melbourne supporters rise to clap their heroes, because it is a great exhibition of football. Melbourne at 3/4 time. Johnny Northey, they love him too. 17-18, 120 Melbourne at 3/4 time. Lead the Sydney Swans 8-12-60.
during that quarter, the Swans kicked 2 goals 6, but Melbourne put 7 goals 5 on the board. And they did that with superb teamwork all over the ground. And the John Northey-inspired boys have thrown themselves onto boots. They've tackled magnificently. Their back line has been strong. Love it. Spalding across the half-back line. What gets past them, it's been Hughes and White. And at three-quarter time, it's Swans 8, 12 goals, 12, 60 points. Melbourne 17 goals, 18, 120.
For one team, just one quarter of football remains for season 87. For the other, a chance at football glory. And we'll be back with the final quarter after the break. Let's check the scoring on the scoreboard. Yes, that's pretty much the way it goes for Sydney supporters at the moment. It was a 5-point margin in favour of the Swans at the end of the opening term. 31 points in Melbourne's favour at half-time. They are now exactly double. The Sydney Swans score 17-18, 120 to 8-12, 60. Melbourne lead by 60 points. Take a look at the goal kickers. These are just the multiple goal kickers for the Swans. Healy, Carroll and Wright, 2 apiece. For Melbourne, Flower has 4 and Viney, Campbell, Healy and Yeats have 2 apiece to their credit. Well, the highlights, and these will run all Melbourne's way as rightly they should. Barry?
That was a great goal from Stephen Stretch and just continued the avalanche of goals that Melbourne have had since the start of the second quarter. But Swans certainly a sorry sight, and Glenn Coleman taking one of his few marks or getting his few touches for the day. And South Melbourne Swans really don't know which way to go.
Well, it really is an exercise in commitment as far as Melbourne's concerned, isn't it? They're giving everything they have.
Well, we really have said that Melbourne have been playing on a high, and I think we really have to start to say that Melbourne are a very good football team. Their commitment is absolutely excellent. Every player all over the ground giving 100%, and their forward line, the way they lock that ball in there at varying stages of the game is just fantastic football.
Well, how much trouble would the Swans be in without the likes of Healy and Wright, and that's about it,
Williams,
isn't it?
I
And
think
Williams,
just, as I said at half-time, they really would be in all sorts of problems without those three, and they've really played their heart out today, and it's just a pity that some of their other teammates really don't put in as hard as they do. It's been a shocking performance by the Swans, and the stats there, well, if you looked at those stats and hadn't seen the game, you'd say, well, where are Melbourne in front? But if you have a look at the scoring shots there, 17 to 32, and that just tells the story that the Swans forwards aren't touching the football.
All right, they're just about ready for us back at the MCG for the commencement of play in the final term. So let's now return you to Peter McKenna and Bob Skilton.
1 quarter of football left to play in the first semi-final of 1987, and it'll be very, very hard to see anyone but the Melbourne Football Club going into the preliminary final against Hawthorn next week. 60 points to margin, and that's all the Swans have scored in 3 quarters of football. Wright taps the ball on. Barry Mitchell kicks the ball forward for the Swans. Taken down there by Healy, but it's mothered out there by Sean White. Again, fine defensive work. And the former Demon, Gerard Healy, I just wonder what's going through his mind at the moment.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Great Melbourne player he was, Gerard Healy too, but he went to the Swans and, well, he's had finals experience. Now it's Melbourne's turn. There's Todd Viney. He does a lot of hard things. Browning. I wonder whether there's talk in the Melbourne papers this morning that he's already signed on as coaching up in the Ovens and Murray League in Victoria for next season. So maybe this is his last game for the Sydney Swans. He's been a great stalwart for them, if it is his last game. He has been a fantastic player for them, Mark Browning. There's John Northey, the quiet achiever, and really, he was sacked by the Sydney Swans, we must remember. A hand pass out to Dennis Carroll, been moved away from full forward. I would have done it much earlier, I think. There's Tony Morwood having an open goal, and Tony Morwood has put it through.
Morwood kicks his first goal, and goals have been very, very hard to come by for the Swans. 9 goals, 12, 66. 17, 18, 120.
Well, when you look at their set forwards, Greg Williams has kicked the goal. He's their centreman. Gerard Healy's kicked 2. He's a ruck rover. Brett Scott's kicked 1. They just haven't had any forwards down there, Bob.
And that would be taking it away from the Melbourne defence. They have really applied pressure. And Brett Lovett, Earl Spalding, Newport, after Bailey has had the early job of going everywhere with Healy. Newport took over as Tommy Hafey. Well, you can't get any glummer than that, as Carroll puts the ball forward. Yeats is there to tap the ball on, and it goes towards Danny Hughes. Hughes will take the ball over the boundary line. Hawke coming through.
Well, this will be the 4th finals appearance in 2 years by the Swans. A quick exit again, Bob.
Yes, and it's disappointing. And I'm sure they'll really have to look at the situation. Unfortunately, as the old saying goes in football, maybe they did peak too early. Then they were unfortunate to have a few injuries, and they certainly haven't looked like a fresh side with life in their legs during this final series.
Well, I really thought that they'd come out and push Melbourne today. I really thought we were in for a great contest. Greg Williams has been taken out.
Likewise.
I think been taken out of it by Simon Eisholt. Greg Williams. There's Danny Hughes, ever reliable. Oh, gee. Good mark, Brett Bailey. Across to Eisholt, the player I mentioned. Further afield it comes. This is Warren Dean to half forward, and the long kick comes right up towards Stynes, who flies. Couldn't take it, and it's forced over the line in that forward pocket.
Yes, and Greg Healy giving the hand pass over, taking it back again, and well, he's been an excellent player also, but every Melbourne player has done his job at some stage. From the throw-in, high over the top came Cordy, a snap towards goal. Robert Flower was up high. Carter's done a good job against Flower, because Robbie Flower had kicked goals at that stage. Browning takes the ball, a shocking kick straight into the arms of Stephen Stretch, who's been a fine player on the wing.
He's been a wonderful acquisition, Stephen Stretch, to the Melbourne side in the last couple of seasons.
He get a lot of votes in the Brownlow too.
He is a top player, Stretch, as he kicks from the 55-metre mark. It's close. I think it was touched through. A very, very good drop punt, though, that by Stretch. It's forced through for a behind. 17-19 to 9-12, and you would have to say this is a real hiding.
That is the understatement of the year. Official attendance here today, 80,292. And most of them absolutely delighted with Melbourne's performance. Bailey takes it from Greg Healy. The kick from Browning, tapped on by Coleman. Murphy puts the ball down towards half forward, but Tony Morwood's a mile behind Sean White. White puts the short pass in. It's a shocker. Coleman takes the mark, but he doesn't know which way to go. Now he drives it towards centre half forward. Eisholt in front is beaten foot by Greg Williams, who's got Tony Morwood down the ground. Morwood at the back, up high, a lovely mark. So Tony Morwood, well, that's the time that players get caught out. Sean White left Morwood, did everything right, and now it comes back and Tony Morwood takes the mark.
Yes, no doubt about that mark, and well, he's been on and off the ground today, Tony Morwood, and that's why 3 kicks and 3 handballs. He's been one of that forward line that has played poorly. There's the kick, and it's another goal.
Morwood kicking his second goal, in fact second for the quarter, and so probably for the only time in this game. Well, I think a very even first term when the Swans led by 5 points, and at quarter time it looked like being an excellent game. Only 5 points the margin between the sides, but since then it's been a cakewalk for the Demons. 72-121. O'Dwyer gets the tap. Williams is dispossessed by Eisholt, who's played an excellent game. Spalding takes it on to Stretch. He bursts through the centre and puts a lovely kick down to the forward area. Touched up the hands. Bayes comes through, pushes it over the line, and Melbourne get their 5th rush point, but they have been great. 72-122, a lead of 50 points.
Just over the 6-minute mark, final quarter. I think it's most important for the Sydney Swans to salvage a bit of pride by fighting this game right out, and I think they are doing that at the moment. Craig Holden, the 50-metre line, he's on half-back, brings it to the wing. Coleman couldn't take the mark. David Murphy's in there as the rain tumbles down again, and well, that adds insult to injury as we see Stephen Wright going for the long kick, and the umpire Peter Campbell, did he say ran too far?
Yes.
Is that the judgment? A little bit stiff, but look at the rain coming down, and I think that certainly ends the Swans' hopes, whatever hope they did have, and I really do believe they didn't have much at all. So we see the ball with Greg Healy on half-back flank. Kicks it towards half-forward, it's fisted away. to right, back to Carter, to half forward, punched away, that was by Coop. Again, the Demons get out of defence, and the mark has been taken on centre wing by Stephen Newport.
So Newport from centre wing towards centre half forward, punched away by Carroll, taken by Bailey of Melbourne, and Brett Bailey puts the ball high in the air. Stynes in front, Cordy punches the ball away, Bays puts it to ground, Jackson takes it well, shows a good turn of speed, a lovely hand pass to Yeats, who snaps towards goal, but he's offline. 1 point the result. So Graeme Yeats has kicked 2 goals, 1 out of Melbourne's 17-21, and it's 123 points to 72. Browning plays on from full-back. A poor kick from Browning. Missed that time by Flower, but once again, he gets great support, and the Demons go forward as it was kicked that time by Newport. Kicked off the ground by Stevie Wright. Over the boundary line it goes as Stephen O'Dwyer comes off the ground. Williams back on the ground for Melbourne. What a great display of football by the Demons. Stynes grabs it, puts it forward. Bays slips. Williams comes through, the hand pass to Bays. His kick, a high, floating one towards the centre, and Stretch, a beautiful mark.
Well, that was just sheer ability and class, took that mark. Tremendous. Oh, this is bad play by the Sydney Swans, because Stephen Stretch is a magnificent kick of a football, and that 15 metres now takes him right onto the 50-metre line. He will kick this drop punt from 16 kicks he's had. And as I said, he is a great kick. There's the drop punt, a low trajectory drop punt, goal.
Lovely goal by Stephen Stretch with the aid of a 15-metre penalty. Stretch put his second goal on the board, and he's controlled that wing right throughout the game. But as we've said a number of times, no matter what position you would like to name, you can make the same comment.
An absolute team, and next week will be a sensational game, because Hawthorn play a similar style of game. They're a team, and so are Melbourne. We're in for a classic contest.
Greg Williams overruns the ball. Bolton gains it, hooks it down towards the half-forward line, but it's Melbourne in the way, and big Jim Stynes. Stynes plays on. Would have had a 15-metre penalty, but doesn't even worry about that, and that's why, because he drove the ball forward. And one of the best players on the ground for mine, Simon Eisholt.
Tremendous game, the former Ormond Amateurs boy, and he was a late replacement in the side for Russell Richards. He goes to the pocket, and Tony Campbell chips in to take a safe mark on his chest about 20 metres out from goal. They're doing it well, 18-21 to 10-12 at the moment, and a chance for another goal. He's kicked to, there's Eisholt, kicking long to the pocket. Great judgment there, but no pressure by Mark Bays whatsoever. There's the kick by Campbell, and what's he done with it? He's dobbed it.
3 goals to Tony Campbell, and I don't think it's too many weeks ago that nobody could have imagined Tony Campbell representing Melbourne in a finals game. He's come into the side and he's done the job well, and I think that at the moment he's there to stay. Tony Campbell's stats. Centre bounce. Stynes gets the ball forward once again. Browning gains it, well tackled by Viney, and the loose ball comes out. Bolton comes out with it, runs straight into a Melbourne tackle. Dean now, the ball forced forward to Bailey, on to Stynes. Stynes to Flower. Flower, a shocking kick, but well excused Robbie Flower there.
I think Flower really tried to chip that across to his teammate then, Bob. I reckon he went for a little pass and just kicked it a little bit over his head.
Bays off, Ironmonger on.
Well, Mark Bays has played a very poor game. I think a lot of rumours going around. He may not be in Sydney next year. He might be playing in Melbourne, but, well, we'll wait and see on that one. But it's on half-back for the Swans. It has been a magnificent exhibition, this by Melbourne. 72 handballs to the Sydney Swans, 69, and it will be interesting over the summer to see what happens with the Sydney Swans lineup. There's Mark, has not had a good day, Mark Bays, but I'll tell you what, he's not Robinson Crusoe there, he's had a few mates. We've had very few good players, Bob.
Yes, I can only concur with that remark, Pete. A very, very disappointing last few weeks of the year for the Swans. In fact, from memory, I think they've lost 6 out of 7. They lost 3 of their last, well, 5 out of 6 anyway, because they lost 3 of their last 4 games, and have lost their 2 final games as Lovett once again takes it. It was a poor kick from Bolton. Lovett puts the ball wide. Robert Flower, 40 metres out from goal, puts it forward. Across the face of goal it comes, and through for 1 point. Kicked by Robert Flower, who has 4 goals, 4 on the board, out of Melbourne's 10 goals, 12. 72 to 136 as John Northey has a close look at the situation. Not much expression on the face, but I can assure you, within, he'll be absolutely delighted with the performance by his team, and so he should be.
You just wonder how long, Bob, as we see Barry Mitchell getting it down to centre wing, how long can they keep this sensational form up? 2 more weeks they've got, and they've got a premiership if they're good enough. They're Danny Hughes, ironmonger, doesn't get many kicks, does a lot of knocking on. Paul Hawke, bad kick goes straight to Graeme Yeats. Yeats courageously took that mark. He didn't know what was coming from behind him then, and he copped one. Oh, towards half forward he goes. Craig Holden caught. Players charge in after it. A slippery ball now, as after well, in fact, it's still raining at the moment, a light shower, and there's a very, very glum look on the face of Tommy Hape. He's had a lot of success as a coach with Richmond. He's had some heartbreak at this ground with Collingwood, of course, and now also with the Sydney Swans. Coming off is Coleman, and coming back on is Bayes.
Peter McKenna, it's a little bit late. As that one's concerned, Campbell almost took a great mark. Look at the crowd, they're not happy about that. They're all for the Demons, and they're letting umpire Howlett know what they think as the Swans put the ball forward towards centre wing. Williams is there, gets the hand pass across to Healy from centre wing. Healy goes towards half forward, and Tony Morwood takes a nice mark, gives it across to Bayes. Bayes will put the long kick down the ground. It won't be straight. Can Stevie Wright gain possession? He cannot, and it's through for 1 point, kicked by Mark Bayes. 73 to 136. 15 minutes approaching, so approximately 12 or 13 minutes to play, and what more can this guy do? Stephen's stretch has been superb. Another lovely mark. Now he puts the ball wide for Jim Stynes. Has all the time in the world to take it. Ironmonger chased, smothered. Robert Flower first on the scene. Tried to tap it back to Stynes. Carter intercepts and picks the ball up. Hand passes over the top to Bolton. Bolton now hooks it towards half forward. Spalding's in the way. Can't quite take the mark. Almost a collision of Swans. And Lovett now onto Newport. Newport puts the ball forward. Finds his teammate in Bailey. Hand pass over the top time. Finds Viney. Viney straightens up. The hand pass towards Healy. Can he get the kick in? He does. Goes goalward. And Greg Healy brings up his 3rd goal.
Well, tremendous play again. What great play that was from the back line. Sheer teamwork, desperation. Look at the desperation of Todd Viney. It started further afield, though, and a long hand pass allows Greg Healy to grab it. Got a nice bounce, bang, and shoots a goal. Beautiful teamwork, but it started further afield on the back line. Well, this has been a tremendous performance. 20-22 to 10-13, nearly double the score, and I think they've been twice as good. You'd have to say that, Bob.
No doubt about it, Pete. Since quarter time, Melbourne have kicked 3 goals, 3 in the to the Swans, 8-9 to Melbourne in the second quarter, 2-6 to 7-5 by the Demons in that 3rd term, and Melbourne have just continued to go on their merry way. They led by 60 points at 3-quarter time, and at the present moment it's 69 points. So the Swans just getting further and further down the drain as Danny Hughes now, a long kick. What a lovely kick Hughes is, and it's a delight to see the Melbourne players with their long kicking and driving it right out of the danger zone each time. kicked off the ground by Mitchell. White tried to tap the ball back. Support coming from Lovett. The hand pass out, and Stephen Stretch once again goes towards the forward area. His kick's offline, but it's pretty rare that happens today. Coleman puts the ball forward. Holden gets it onto Bays. Bays under pressure, just taps it out. It goes straight to the opposition. Yeats puts it onto Coop. Coop dispossessed, but Yeats is there to lend support again. Off the side of the boot it goes, but Melbourne's still in the van. Bays comes through to try and make amends. Gets it to Carter. Carter now onto Brett Scott. Scott pressured by Ricky Jackson, and the kick goes astray, marked by Sean White.
Well, that forward line has been thrashed. And that strong Melbourne defence. He hasn't been dominant today, but he's been a very good team player, Sean White. He hasn't been as brilliant as last week. There's Stynes, the Irishman. He marks on centre wing, big Jimmy Stynes. And he's already kicked a goal.
He's a very underrated player, Pete.
Yes, moves very, very well for a big bloke. There's Warren Dean, the former Subiaco star. Dennis Carroll. Just wonder how fit Dennis Carroll's been in recent weeks. Just not like the normal brilliant Dennis Carroll. There's Craig Holden. A high floater to the pocket. And another safe mark. And David, is he going to take it off him or not? I think he's just given him a warning. Steve Bright tried to con the umpire, get a free kick. Sean White slips over. Off he goes. A shocking kick. He hasn't kicked well today, I should say. Straight to Bolton. Bolton, the high one. Tony Morwood from behind. It's fisted away, though.
You could be excused for saying night because the lights are on.
That's
and it's
right.
quite dark here. No, but great to have the lights here at the MCG as Bailey gives it across to Healy. Another hand pass finds Viney. Likewise, the piece of play comes down to Dean, and Warren Dean hooks the ball down towards the forward area. Good attempt there to mark almost by Tony Campbell, but it was a little bit high for him. Over the boundary line it goes. It's on back behind play as the Melbourne bench, and he looks like he's got a pretty fair shiner there, Brian Wilson.
Well, he got that knock very early in the game. It has not reappeared.
Cheekbone didn't look too good at all, actually.
No, I hope that's not a broken cheekbone and puts him out for the rest of the finals.
Mitchell hooks the ball down towards half-back, and the sliding mark taken there by the Swans skipper in Dennis Carroll. 73 to 142, 69 points the margin as big Jim Stynes is up to take the mark once again. On he goes. Great play, Stynes towards half forward. Couldn't be picked up by Williams. Ironmonger does. Gets it to Cordy. Too long, according to the umpire. And I think he called play on. But
I think he didn't then changed his mind.
He's going to bring it back, and the kick will be taken down there by David Williams. Well, I don't think it matters anyway, because Melbourne have been superb. Yeats, and it's back as Danny Hughes gives the ball to David Williams, who has not kicked a goal yet today. From 55 metres out, Williams goes goalward. It might be through. Goal to Williams, and that's just put the sealer on things.
Well, look at that, 21-22 to 10-13, and now it is over double the score of the Sydney Swans. Lovely kick by David Williams. Hasn't done a lot today. He's been on and off the ground. And
the crowd is about to erupt as Robert Flower is coming off. Stephen O'Dwyer back onto the ground. The applause from the crowd as Robert Flower is taken off the ground. O'Dwyer onto the ground. Stynes puts the ball forward. Yeats with a hand pass out to White. White with a long kick towards centre wing. Williams left, then right. Puts the ball up towards the half-forward line. A push in the back matters not because Warren Dean takes it. Plays on. A nice left foot kick towards half forward. The loose ball comes down and we find the Swans through David Murphy taking the ball out. He finds Bays in the centre of the ground. No pressure at all. This is how Mark Bays likes it. He runs long towards the forward area, but it's straight to the opposition. Danny Hughes is there. The hand pass to Sean White. White puts the ball up towards centre wing, and Stephen Stretch, who's been magnificent.
Stretch has been magnificent. Bobby, I'll tell you how well they've played. This is the highest score that they have had in a semi-final since 1946 against Footscray when they kicked 17 goals, 18. They've had great sides in that time, and now they've kicked 21-22 as Viney has been magnificent. Over it goes to Yeats. Yeats a wide pass, but it doesn't matter because he's on his own, Spalding. Earl Spalding coming down from centre back, gets onto the left foot. He kicks it long, but there's only one man there, and it's the Swans captain, Dennis Carroll, who started the game at full forward. He goes across to Browning. Browning with a long raking kick looking for Bolton. Gee, they've been disappointing, the Swans. They've hardly had a good player. Bolton loses it to his teammate. In fact, oh, gee, off the side of the boot, that was Craig Holden. Now, was it out in the full? I think it was a throw-in.
Throw-in to take place on centre wing. Robert Flower having a look at the situation, and how would Robert Flower feel? 5 weeks ago, thinking he was going to finish his career with not a finals match to his long, illustrious career, and now he's got a minimum of 3, maybe even 4.
It's a fairy tale story, this with Robert Flower, and well, he's had plenty of press in Melbourne, rightly so. He's been a great champion for Melbourne.
Tapped on again. Bailey putting on pressure, but Browning picks the ball up for the Swans. Drives it long, nobody home again, and what a disgraceful forward line it has been for the Swans, but what a magnificent back line for the Demons.
And I think the other thing about Flower, as you see the Melbourne lead 75 points, is his great loyalty to the Melbourne club. He's had many big money offers to go to other clubs, and he has resisted them to stay with Melbourne.
Yes, there's no doubt that Melbourne have looked after Robert Flower to keep him there, but justly so, and it's been just reward that Robert Flower has already seen out 2 successful finals, and he's been an inspiration to the Melbourne Football Club, but it's been a team, and John Northey also there, a great inspiration, and of course he'd feel great at the moment. He was coach of the Sydney Swans, it wasn't required, and well, there were some people who did want to see him go on, but nonetheless, he is coach of Melbourne, and what a great job he's done.
He didn't have enough flair, was the comment, wasn't it?
Well, that was what was written, but whether or not that was actually it. Nonetheless, I don't think John Northey would be too concerned at the moment. All he'd be worried about is just what they get with time on almost left to play. The best man on the ground for mine, and Brett Lovett drives the ball forward, and well, he's had 19 great mates. Doug Coop accepts it from Newport. Coop's kick up towards the forward area. Bailey takes it on to Warren Dean. Dean goes goalward. He's hooked it, and well,
I'll tell you what, he needs some kicking coaching, that Warren Dean. He hooks every kick he has, he hooks right to left like a golf shot. He'd get into trouble on a golf course, Bob. He'd be into
maybe
the trees.
it's just as well for the Swans.
I know, because he does kick a lot of behinds, though. I think next week against Hawthorn he won't want to miss him. Hawthorn will put him under enormous pressure. There is Viney to Dean. He'll probably kick this on the left foot. No, he tries to centre it and do the team thing. That was good football. Ricky Jackson caught. Gets in the hand pass. Rod Carter. I wonder if this is his last game. I think he'll probably saddle up again next year, Rod. It's Viney. Oh, he's marked. I don't think he was sure whether the umpire had called play on or not then, but he's taken this at the 50-metre line. A disconsolate-looking Greg Williams on the mark. There he is, the Brownlow medalist. Kicks it across. Viney.
I think that was actually meant for Newport.
I think it
just shows the dominance of Melbourne at the moment.
The 2 players
it
there.
went over the head of Newport, and then Greg Healy took an easy mark. Now, Greg Healy, with 22 possessions so far, has kicked 3 goals, 1 out of Melbourne's 21-23. Is a little close to the man on the mark, but it's a nice-looking kick, punched away, taken there by Roberts. Healy accepts the hand pass. Robert Flower back onto the ground for Melbourne as Warren Dean comes off, and Melbourne, well, the fans are delighted. Hopefully for Melbourne, Warren Dean is okay. Melbourne's greatest winning margin in a first semi-final, 30 points against North Melbourne in 1954. But today, it's already 76 points. Yeats, again, gets the short kick forward. The hand pass comes out, and Big O'Dwyer drives it up towards Stynes. It runs past him. Over the boundary line it goes. And so a throw-in to take place alongside the behind post. A disconsolate-looking Wayne Henwood. 27 minutes have gone. Throw-in in the forward pocket. Ironmonger gets the ball down. Roberts is dispossessed. Gerard Healy puts the ball forward for the Swans. Bolton along with Doug Coop. Coop happy to see it over the boundary line. The throw in on the half-forward line for Melbourne, with Melbourne on 149 points, leading the Swans 73.
Well, Robbie Flower is back on the ground because Warren Dean, I think he took a bit of a heavy knock and they've taken him off as a precautionary measure, and he got the accolades that Flower normally gets as he went round the boundary line. Here come the Swans. But, gee, they've had some poor players. Their forward line has absolutely been non-existent, and well, we've hardly had a good player all day. In fact, I don't think Tom Hapey would be very impressed by a few of the efforts today. There's Bays doing the ruck work. Tony Campbell, beautiful long hand pass to Sean White. Onto the left foot he goes. He hooks it towards David Murphy's had a very quiet day. Oh, good, strong play. He is a top player, Stephen Stretch. That was magnificent play. Newport was legged, or was it Bailey? And, in fact, it was Newport, but play on now, said the umpire, is David Murphy on centre wing. Kicks it wide, looking for Browning. I'm sure this will be his last game for the Swans. There's Sean White taking it to the line. No, it's still in play. I think Mark Browning would have been quite happy to see it go over, but eventually it is.
It just shows you never stop until it is over.
Right. It Paul stopped. You watch this.
Look at White. There he goes again before Mark Browning and over the line. Brilliant play, Sean White. Indicative of the performance of the Demons. Danny Hughes. Look at the length of the kick of Hughes. Getting it right out of the danger zone. Brett Bailey forces the ball forward. Goes after it again. Kicks it off the ground. It's intercepted down there by Cordy. Cordy's hand pass coming out towards Bolton. Bolton has time to steady. Puts it up towards the forward area, off the hands of the pack. Melbourne's there. Final siren as Hughes got it across to Healy, and the final scores 10-13, 73 Swans. Melbourne 21-23, 149 as Robert Flower comes off the ground. Well done again, Robert Flower, John Northey and the Melbourne Football Club.
Well, a magnificent performance that by the Demons. Let's not take it away from them. They did not have a weak link. Right from the back line where Lovett, young fella, discarded by Hawthorn, set the example. But they had good players everywhere. Stephen Stretch was absolutely brilliant. Their forward line, well, they just took it right away from that Swans defence. The Swans were very, very down in all departments of the game. And a brilliant performance this by Melbourne, and set up a classic contest next week at VFL Park Waverley between Hawthorn, who have been the favourites for the flag, and this up-and-coming Demon side who have already beaten Hawthorn twice this year, once in a night game and once in a day game.
Well, Melbourne trailed by 5 points at quarter time, but that was the only time that the Swans ever really looked in the hunt. At half-time, it was 31 points to Melbourne, 60 points at three-quarter time, and 76 points at the finish, with a great performance by Melbourne. 3 goals, 3 to the Swans in the first quarter, while Melbourne kicked 2 goals, 4. Then we saw the Swans completely fall apart. They only added 3 goals, 3 to 8 goals, 9 in the second quarter. 7 goals, 5 to the Demons, to 2 goals, 6 in the third quarter. And then in the final term, when they were all tired, both teams were tired, it was 4 goals, 5 to Melbourne, 2 goals, 1 to the Swans. A great team performance all over the ground. John Northey can justly be proud of a magnificent team performance by the Demons. And well, I thought the best player on the ground was Brett Lovett.
I agree.
Who played superbly from the half-back flank. He was probably closely by Stephen Stretch. And, well, it's very hard at this stage to think of anyone but possibly the whole side of the Melbourne Football Club. It wouldn't matter who you pick.
Well, I think, Bob, now the question's got to be asked, are they good enough to go the whole hog and go all the way through? I mean, they've only got 2 more games to go, and if they keep this form up, they're a big chance to beat Hawthorn next week. Then they'd meet the Demons in the the Blues in the grand final, and who knows what could happen then. But it's added tremendous interest to this final series.
It certainly has, Pete. A wonderful performance by Melbourne to run out winners. 21-23, 149. Sydney Swans 10-13, 73.